Coming off a 20-point game inside Ballo, who slams it home with two hands. Bounce it to Larson, top of the key. Pella to the right elbow, looking inside for Ballo being fronted. Go right corner, that's Johnson for three. Feed it off for Bradley. Slashing his way down right of the lane, turns, fade away up and good for Jaden. Talbot out top, pass stolen by Larson. Pella will drive the other way, slam it home.
Arizona's ball pressure creating opportunities.
Love, right corner, Larson, pump fake the three. Back out to Love. He will take the three, and he's got it. Caleb Love with the Alexis of Tucson Charity three.
Thanksgiving Day, and we have got basketball for you. It is the number 3 Arizona Wildcats on the road in Palm Springs at the new Acrisure Arena to take on the number 21 Michigan State Spartans in the Acrisure Classic. This is the on-site game in this tournament that actually began, J-Dub, and sometimes we just don't know about this because they really don't publicize it that much, but this actually began on Sunday. This was the game against UT Arlington was actually a part of this whole event. Sometimes they tell you that and it's aware, but sometimes you don't know about these quote on campus games that they have a part of some of these one game tournament situations.
I assume because they're so informed that Rhino and Brian must have mentioned that on the broadcast. But yeah, looking into this game today, I noticed that the UT Arlington game was a part of what they're calling the Classic. Right. So, I'm sorry. The game today is called the Classic, and the event itself is the inaugural event that they've never had before. This is the first year they've had it. And so having those two on-campus games leading up to this game, Michigan State's previous game, and then UT Arlington will also play in a third game as well. So an interesting setup. But, yeah, first time they've ever held this, and this arena that they're playing in, I understand, was just built and just opened last year.
Yeah, so the other team was Alcorn State. That's who Michigan State played in their last game. And then so Alcorn State and UT Arlington will also play as a part of this event. I'm David Kelly. You heard the second voice of our show. That is J.W. Madden, also joined as well by Kelvin Ifan. You have a captain from 1998 and our football and basketball analysts. And Kelvin, a happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to all my brothers out there. We just lost our mom, so, it's kind of tough this morning. But, hey, I'm here, ready to talk some Wildcat sports.
Love you,
absolutely, absolutely. And we appreciate you being here with us. This is the second, you like to say that every game is exciting because every time you get a chance to strap it up and get out there and play is an opportunity to do what you love for this coaching staff and for these kids. But games like this are on another level from what we saw on the 3-game homestand for the Arizona Wildcats when they took on the Southern Jaguars and then the Belmont Bruins and then the UT Arlington Mavericks. This game is on point with game number 2. For the Wildcats when they face the Duke Blue Devils on the road at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Maybe not to that level because it's not a home-and-home situation. You're not going into, quote, a hostile environment today. You're going into a neutral site, and there's going to be a number of these neutral site games. But, hey, neutral site is what you play come March.
Right.
And so this is the first opportunity for the Wildcats to go into this type of environment and have a chance to figure out what they want to do as they begin to move forward with this season and some of these tough preseason and non-conference games they're going to face.
Yeah, you're exactly right. These are the games that I always say the reason why the guys came to play for Arizona. You didn't really come to play against the Southerns and the UT Arlingtons of the world. You wanted to play the Michigan States, the UCLA, the Dukes. So, yeah, to guarantee you the guys are up for this game. All the guys understand all the implications, guys, professional implications, also seeding implications when you go into, as far as the tournament is concerned, wanting to get a good seed out in the West and things. So you just want to win these games. These again, as I said, these are the games you come to play for. So everybody's going to be more excited. I already know a lot of guys that are out there in California to be at this game. Again, this is the reason why you want to be a Wildcat.
Yeah, not all like neutral sites are the same, right? Like when you guys played in MSG, Kelvin, I mean, there was a lot of partisan fans there. You know what I'm saying? So this game so close to Tucson. Obviously, a lot of alumni. A big alumni part of the Wildcats alumni base in Southern California, a little bit further away from Michigan State. However, I have a feeling from what we understand, there's a lot of people who have saved some vacation money and are going to be making that trip down there and seeing some palm trees. So I'm sure there'll be quite a few Spartans fans in the crowd as well.
Well, they like big-time basketball as well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is the reason why, their fans and their players go to Michigan State. So, of course, they're going to circle these dates, especially when you can get out to beautiful California at this time of the year. I guarantee you they'll trade that home and home every time to get a chance to come to California instead of having to go out to where is that? I was going to say Ann Arbor, but that's where Michigan is at.
East Lansing.
East Lansing.
Yeah. I used to actually live there for a short period of time in my life. So it sounds like, Kelvin, you know who's on the guest list today. Who's going to be at Acrisure Arena that you've heard?
Oh, man, I just know Bibby and a few of those guys. Jefferson,
Okay.
I heard a few of those guys are supposed to be out there.
All
So,
right.
yeah, man, I mean, guys show up for these games, man. They want to have on their white Wildcat jersey and be seen for sure.
I got to say it because I was watching the game last night. Chris Paul got ejected, Warriors playing.
Oh, wow. I missed that game, of course, but he got ejected.
Scott Foster, and he got a long
Foster.
history, and there was some talking or whatever. But the funniest part was Steve Kerr gets pulled to the sideline, and they're talking about, he said, the question gets set up. He says, one of your Wildcat brethren, Richard Jefferson over here, is talking this, that, and the other. And Kerr looks in the camera and he says, who? I'm sorry, I don't know who you're talking about. And he just walks away. He did Jefferson so dirty. I got to find that. It was so amazing last night. Yeah, so good. And then RJ comes back on the broadcast. He's like, I don't know what I did to deserve that kind of, attitude from Coach Kerr. He's a legend out here in Arizona because the game was being played in Phoenix. So, yeah, it was good times.
Good stuff. All right, we've got you for the next 3 hours, taking you up to network coverage at 1 o'clock. Tip-off of this game over in Palm Springs is 2 o'clock. Let's tell you a little bit about what we've got in store for you this morning and into the afternoon.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, we'll review the win over Arlington, UT Arlington 100-68 on Sunday. We'll get a first look at this game against the Michigan State Spartans. Our spotlight on a cat today is going to be Jaden Bradley, who's had his first double-figure scoring game of the season. You will give your Pac-12 scoreboard. There are a number of other teams in the conference who are on the docket today, as well as, I believe, Arizona State. We will give you the scouting report of these Michigan State Spartans. Blake Froling from the Spartans Media Network will join us, and also all of the usual things, best bets. Arizona 5.5-point favorite today over the Michigan State Spartans. You will hear from the legendary head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, Tom Izzo, as well. We'll give you your keys to the game and a whole lot more straight ahead. Now, guys, let's take a look back at what we saw here on Sunday, and that was a win against the UT Arlington Mavericks, and it was really a game that kind of started a little bit kind of strange for the Wildcats. Again, coming off these games, it was the first time they kind of had a quick turnaround type situation, did Arizona, but able to kind of, begin to pull away at the end of the first half. And I mentioned that I thought that a lot of that had to do with some defense at some play at the defensive end by Mo Krivas on the interior, but head coach Tommy Lloyd said that things were kind of tight in that first half in that game.
Belmont, I felt like we were a little more locked in, and maybe some of the threes they were making were from guys that weren't necessarily 3-point shooters. Maybe it was a little bit of a scout-based deal. This one was, we just our effort wasn't there on loose balls and some rebounding things early, and just some of the the situations where we wanted to take advantage and pressure them, and that's what happens. So, but it's great to learn that stuff. Like, listen, you have to be a little bit of a realist as a coach, even though you're a big dreamer. That every half of basketball ain't going to be perfect, and you have to respond and learn, and make some adjustments. And a lot of times those adjustments are just mentality and effort, and I thought our guys did that.
a little lackadaisical, I thought, guys, to start. And Kelvin, when you kind of come out and things aren't flowing the way you want right out of the gate, what's the quickest way to kind of try to pull it all back together?
Well, defense. Play on the defensive end. Try to get some steals. Try to get some defensive rebounds. Get the break going. Get some easy opportunities. With a team like this that's so fast, guys could run. We can get the pass up. Guys could dunk, catch lobs. When you have a team like that, if you just cut it up on the defensive end, good things happen. But I also think sometimes that we have to back up a little bit and give the other team a little credit. The team came in with a great game plan. They executed their game plan. They were all seniors. These are adult young men that have transferred from 3 and 4 different schools. If we go back and look at UTA, they had 3 or 4 of those guys, like a 25-year-old on their team as well. So some of these teams really get up for you, and it's hard for Arizona to get up for them. And that little opportunity sometimes present itself to have a tough first half. But as they always say, it's a not fourth quarter, it's a 2-half game. And usually after that 2-half, you'll really find out who the better team is. And I thought Arizona really cut it up in the second half, turned it on, and really took care of business.
And it's good, too, when you're playing, I don't know that there were too many misassignments, Kelvin, as much as that team was just making shots, making tough shots.
Tough shot.
When you look at the film and you see that, you're not pointing to a guy not closing out strong. You're not pointing to a guy maybe not boxing out the right way. What you're pointing to is, hey, on that shot right there, you want to make sure, you're a little bit closer and get a hand a little bit closer in his face. Not that they did anything wrong, just subtle tweaks, because when a team's making big shots, but the key, what Kelvin said there, obviously, that's going to happen. You're going to see teams make shots against you. It doesn't matter what kind of defense you play. It's how you respond to that. It's what you bring. And that run at the end of the first half into the second half, that was the response, Kelvin.
And that's crazy when you talk about, Kelvin just mentioned there was a 25-year-old on UT Arlington's roster. And, we were talking yesterday just about DeAndre Ayton is 25. And he's like in his 6th year in the NBA. It's just crazy to think about the different levels and guys the same age, and the one guy's 6 years into the league and another guy's, still trying to get there.
And let me say this too. The other thing I think people need to watch for is this, and I mentioned it, I think, on the post-game show, is that when you have a team that's so talented and you have 6 and 7 guys being in double figure scoring, sometimes as a player, you wait for the game to come to you. And sometimes it's a bad thing because everybody's waiting for the game to come to them. Everybody's making extra pass. Everybody's being super unselfish. And it gives that little room for a couple turnovers because you're not being as aggressive as you usually are. So that's why sometimes you hear about that alpha dog type of situation, somebody to kind of get you started type of guy. That's why I always say go to Ballo. Close to the rim, he's fresh at the time. So his size and his strength is most important at the beginning of the game. Go to him, let him start the game out, and let the rest of the dogs kind of feed afterwards. But that's going to happen more than people think, where you're going to get these slow starts, because you have so many guys that score that sometimes they're like, no, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. And it takes a little while for them to catch it and get going.
Yeah, pass the ball around, but just don't be Ben Simmons, right? I mean, don't pass up, Kelvin, a wide open layup. The offense got you that wide open layup. Take the shot.
All right, let's hear what Tommy Lloyd said to his players during halftime of that UT Arlington game, with the Wildcats at the time just up 6 points.
Nothing crazy. Obviously we have a standard that probably wasn't met in the first half, and, UTA probably gets some credit for that. And, and our guys probably, get a little bit of blame, and, the coaches are involved in that too. And, I just think the lesson is that, success and winning doesn't come easy. And it always has to be based with effort. And you layer it with intelligence and passion and unselfishness, and now you got something. But if you don't put all those things together, you're gonna come up a little bit short. And so I was kind of happy how he responded in the first half, because it wasn't coming easy. And that you don't start games up 30-0. So there's always that kind of back and forth, that fight early in a game. They took a little bit of a lead. We made a run, and then I was kind of disappointed at some of our shot selection, just with a couple. And we're a program. We play with great freedom, but, we also play with intelligence and unselfishness. So, we address that, and I think those are great lessons for us to learn. And then we kind of obviously fixed it a little bit, and we got on a little bit of roll there in the second half.
DK, one thing I've been hearing Kelvin say for 8 years now is that's a prideful team too. And those guys are looking at the jersey you got on, and they're looking at that number that you got next to that Arizona Wildcats up on the ticker, and they're coming in here to make a program-defining win. So no matter what, you're going to get the best shot. That team coming off that close loss in the pit, that's a proud team. They got some skill over there too. So you kind of have to, at this point, expect, Kelvin, every single game. Doesn't matter what the mascot is. If you're familiar with the name of the school or anything else, every team's going to come in and give their best shot.
And I hate to bring up, we have a football game this weekend, right, against Arizona State. And I've been seeing a couple little things on Twitter. I actually do look at Twitter, right? And I have a Twitter account. And I'm hearing people blow them out. And I'm just like, if that happens, great. But sometimes you can go into a game trying to blow people out and thinking you're so much superior to the other team that it could backfire on you. And you can make mistakes, or the game could end up tight. And that's the worst thing that could ever happen to you, is if you think that you could blow somebody out, right, and you should blow them out, and the game ends up tight in the third or fourth quarter, you're going to be tight as you know what, because you can't believe, how do we get in this situation? Now you have everybody looking around at each other with that different look. You know, I was talking about basketball when you're looking around, oh, no, I know you can do it. Now everybody looking around like, why you haven't done it?
Well, hey.
And why are we in this situation? So, no, man, you some of these games are going to be tough for the basketball team in the first half. Sometimes shots are not going to fall. Sometimes other teams going to have great offense. What they had, the kid from Phoenix, right? He had a double-double, basically. Well, not a double-double. He didn't rebound well, but basically scored double figures in the first half. He didn't do much in the second half. Right? But that's the thing I'm saying. Guys are going to play out of their mind, trying to play against that jersey, trying to play against the Love name and the Boswell name and the Barlow name, trying to get themselves taped for NBA and across these opportunities. But in the end result is what you're really looking for. Whether you won by 1, whether you won by 20, whatever. We'll go back and debate that once it's over. But get the dub. I'm talking about the football team.
Well, both, right? But all you got to do, Kelvin, is look at the early season tournament losses. I'm not talking Arizona. I'm talking to every team. I'm talking Purdue. I'm talking to any team. Any team that you go in as a top 5 seed and you're playing against a double-digit seed in the NCAA tournament, Kelvin, and you start to see a 10-point deficit. Maybe your shots aren't falling. And you're talking about tightness, that concept of like going into a game expecting to win, expecting not only to win, but to win by a large margin. When that's not going your way, what's the game plan at that point? You got to go in and just take care of business, pay attention to detail, and just focus on the game plan.
All right. Tommy Lloyd said that games don't start 30-0, but with his team sometime in the middle of the game, it can be 33-2. And that's what happened in this particular game as the Wildcats turned it around over the first and second halves. All right, let's get in our first break of the day. We'll come back. We'll hear a little bit more from the guys on the game on Sunday and get you starting to get set for the game today with the Michigan State Spartans. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. Arizona, number 3 in the nation, taking on number 21 Michigan State today in Palm Springs on Thanksgiving Day. With Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden, I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks.
Your Arizona Wildcat brethren, Richard Jefferson, said you were upset in the under 6 timeout about the...
Since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
At Nova Home Loans, we believe everyone deserves the opportunity to enjoy the independence that comes with home ownership. Whether you're a first-time home buyer who needs down payment assistance, have less than perfect credit, or looking to refinance, Nova has a variety of home loan programs for your unique situation. Visit novahomeloans.com or call 800-955-9125 to learn more. Not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Rates and available loan programs are subject to change without notice. NMLS 3087, BK 0902429, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Well, it's that time of year. You dress the kids up for the holiday parties, and they hate it. You dress everybody up for the annual holiday card picture, and, well, everybody hates that. You even dress the turkey, and we're pretty sure he's not happy about that. This year, dress up your yard in time for the holidays. Call Dorado Rockin' Materials, and we promise there will be no complaints. Make your yard beautiful and worry-free with their personal service and convenient delivery times. Dorado Rockin' Materials. The right service, the right product, the right price.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Your Arizona Wildcat brethren, Richard Jefferson, said you were upset in the under-6 timeout about this in particular. What do you have to say to him?
I'm sorry, who is this guy you're talking about? Richard who?
Jefferson, you familiar with him?
I've never heard of him.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Good luck.
I gotta love it. You gotta love it. A Wildcat legend on the floor in the NBA as a coach, and Steve Kerr referring to another Wildcat legend on the broadcast table in Richard Jefferson.
They got the same personality. Like, anybody remembers Kerr back in college? He just had that sardonic, sarcastic kind of humor. Like, he's always had that sense of humor. Same.
That is good stuff there. Welcome back to the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. It's the Wildcats and the Michigan State Spartans today in Palm Springs at the Acrisure Classic, and that is a 2 o'clock tip-off coming up for you right here on Wildcats Radio 1290. Let's kind of finish up our conversation about the last win over UT Arlington on Sunday. The Wildcats, I mentioned going into the break, began turning that game. It was 37-37 late in the first half. The Wildcats began a 20-0 run that carried over from the first half to the second half and ending up being a 33-2 run as they held the Mavericks to 19 points in the second half. It was almost a record. The record was 16. They almost were able to match the record for lowest opponent total in a half in program history. The Mavericks got just 19 points. How about that, Jaden Bradley?
You know, they came out, hot, making a lot of shots from the three. I think they had 6 threes halftime. We came out just more ball pressure, contesting more shots, and it was helping our offense flow in transition as well.
And the Wildcats, again, a pretty good job. They turned it over a bit in the first half, but cut that down in the second half of the ball game. Ended up only with 11 turnovers in the game. And Jaden kind of talked about what's been key for the Wildcats keeping down those turnover numbers.
I think the biggest difference was second half we came and played Arizona basketball. We got the best bigs in the country, so making the easy plays. Colin had a lot of assists just straight to Umar. So just making those easy plays and finding the easy reads, so it made it easy, and the turnovers kind of were fewer. So,
yeah, and you'll hear Tommy Lloyd a little bit later talk about that the job that Colin Boswell did in that ball game, getting the ball inside to his big man, and how key that's going to be for this offense moving forward.
Yeah, no, you always hear, I say that's the way you should start the game. And I also believe anytime that you can get the big guy the ball, it's important to drop it off to him. One, it gets the big guy going, and he gets real greedy on those rebounds on that defensive end, and he gets everything, and that really helps your team secure the wins. But two, it also forces his man to guard him. I mean, guys don't understand. I tell basketball players this all the time. When you penetrate into that lane, the easiest way to get a layup is passing it to your guy, because if you pass it to your big, they have to stay with him. They have to respect him. So now you're at the rim, wide open, finishing right at the rim with easy dunks and easy layups. So I just think it's important to always feed the bigs because it gets everybody confidence going.
The best scorer I ever saw was Michael Jordan, and he had some kind of scrubby type centers, Kelvin. No disrespect, but like they used to go inside.
Are you knocking Bill Cartwright over there?
Well, I'm going to say this. They weren't Shaq and Wilt. He wasn't playing with like all-time Hall of Fame centers, but they used to go to those guys, Cartwright and Wennington, on the first 15 possessions. They would go in 10 times. And I think of it like a wide receiver. He's out there and he doesn't see a ball for like 15 plays and starts to lose interest, and maybe he's supposed to block on a screen or whatever. That whole thing, getting him engaged, like Kelvin said, those centers can't pass themselves the ball. We just talked about that with DeAndre Ayton. Yeah. You got to make sure that you get him some touches, just get him in the flow of the offense. And in this system, I mean, Coach Lloyd lives in the paint. It's all inside out. So they're going to get as many touches as possible. But doing that early and often. Kelvin, how many keys to the game is go inside to Tabellas, go inside to, Ballo? Just establish that post touch, because it's just going to collapse the defense. You're just going to see a lot more space as a result.
Yeah, no, I hate to get redundant with that, but in reality, that's the name of the game. The team to get the easiest buckets. I always say the team to get the most layups win. That's simple. And if you got a bigger guy than the other team, if you're not using that guy, you just don't seem you're not a smart team to me. So, again, that's going to always be the number one thing. If I have a good big on any team that I know, or if I'm, announcing on, I'm always going to say go to that big guy, because it just forces the defense's hands.
All right, we mentioned that this was a 2-game and 48-hour period. No multi-team tournament event for the Wildcats this year, but they did play the 2 games last weekend in a 48-hour stretch. And Tommy Lloyd was asked by Brian Jeffries if UT Arlington, if that was an ideal situation to have to play those 2 games with Belmont and UT Arlington in that shorter period of time.
Well, I think they're all ideal. And any opportunity, I mean, I know. We only basically get 18 games a year to play in McHale. Mm-hmm. And, counting our exhibition games and kind of the 4 games already, we're already a third of the way there. So anytime you get to play at home in McHale, you got to embrace that opportunity and make it special. And I thought UTA was going to be scrappy just like they were, and they got off to a good start. And, those guys played really hard. And fortunately in the second half, maybe we kind of wore them down a little bit and kind of broke their will. But it didn't come easy. And, I definitely tip my hat to them, because they really pushed us and made us respond.
And obviously, Tommy had made the comments after the game on Friday night about the energy in the building, about season tickets, the people that have tickets not showing up, and the a little bit again. The crowd was bigger on Friday night than it was. There was less than 14,000 in the building for Sunday's game, but was there enough energy for the head coach on Sunday?
It felt good. You know, I told our guys, hey, I don't know what to expect Sunday afternoon. I don't know if people are going to be sleepy after lunch in church. You know, are they going to come out, you know, breathing fire? But we need to be the spark. Our effort and energy need to be the spark for the crowd. We don't need to wait for the crowd to get us going. So I think there was a good kind of back and forth with some of our guys, making some energy and effort plays, and then the crowd responding and building a little bit of momentum for us.
And guys, that's ultimately what it comes down to. I mean, we've all been watching basketball for a long time, and crowds will sit on their hands until they see something that wants to make them get up and not sit on their hands. And that ultimately falls on the play on the floor to get folks in.
Well, we talk a lot about the intelligence of the McHale crowd, and they've seen a lot of great basketball. A lot of the people who are in that building for games, they've been there for decades, right? And so they've seen, Kelvin, so much quality basketball over the years. I feel like there's an element of if there's a little bit of sloppy play or effort isn't quite there, then the crowd sees that and senses that and notices that. But the crowd will always reward guys diving on the court. They'll always reward those hustle plays. They'll always reward looking for the open teammate and it's a great assist, that kind of thing. So it's really just a matter of maintaining focus and staying in the game for the players, and the crowd will come around. The crowd responds to the play. And again, Kelvin talks about it all the time. If you got the Michigan States and the Dukes of the world coming in, it's a different energy level. A team that maybe some of the fan base might not have even ever heard of that school coming in, they're just kind of waiting for those big runs and those big plays. Once that 20-point run came, you heard some noise from the crowd then.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, that's and I think that, like you said, in the tail end of the first half, when they started to turn the game, you could kind of feel that groundswell. I thought when I was there, I got there and I was there for the entire first half and into the second half. You could kind of feel the crowd reacted. Okay, this is where we need to kind of do our part to help this run along, and that's where it started down the stretch.
To
of the
make it
first
simpler,
half.
I think certain teams come in, they might not have a name. The crowd reacts to the play on the court. If a team comes in with a name and a number, Kelvin, then the crowd's buzzing and making noise before the opening tip.
Yeah. And from that player side, it's the same. The players, sometimes it's hard to get up for those teams. As a player, you didn't come in like you're going to come in for Michigan State or like you're going to come in for Duke. So sometimes it takes the players a little while to get that energy going. And as you guys said, with this type of crowd, the players have to understand, which I think is a good thing. Because now it helps you on the road while you're at home, understanding that we have to be the fire starters. And who is the fire starter on this team? That's what you're starting to learn. I think Boswell could be that guy. I keep bringing up Boswell all the time. I think he could be a fire starter because he has that little edge about him. You see Love, he's kind of got that cool demeanor. He kind of, real cool dude. You know what I mean? Like in a good way. Not that cool where you're like, come on, man. Pick it up. That cool word, that self-confidence, like, I'm going to get it done. Yeah. Like, that's just what I see in Love. Like, I'm going to take care of business. I can score this basketball. I can lock up on D. But to me, Boswell got that pit bull, like I'm going to bite you just because. like I'm going to bite you because I'm a dog and I bite. And so I think if you just let him off the leash a little bit, he could be that guy to get you going early, plus Ballo, because when you throw it into him, trust me, Ballo going to figure out a way to get it up. To me, them two guys can kind of be your five starters. You kind of play through them to help get some of that energy going because the other guys kind of, got that cool demeanor. I think the big fella, too, I like him, Keyshawn. I think Keyshawn could be a guy to help get that energy going. But you kind of got to set up some of them Coach Olsen backdoor plays. That's sometimes when the free-flowing style kind of get to you a little bit because you're not – when you run that set backdoor play, we all know it's coming. The crowd know it's coming. And when it happens, boom, it sets the place on fire. And then you get that free-flowing going. So something to get those guys the ball to get this place fired up and get the players fired up.
Well, I think Pella can be that guy,
I was gonna
too.
say, on the other side of the ball, Kelvin, they got the luxury of like five guys, right? Because KJ comes in, KJ's doing KJ things. The crowd's going to love that. Yeah. Pella blocked a bunch of shots.
Pella with a poke out, Pella taking a charge, Pella with a two-handed block.
Exactly.
Those are plays
there
that
are
also.
some energy-creating players on that bad team on both sides of the ball who could definitely fire up a crowd at any given moment.
All right, we want to also hear from you this morning on this Thanksgiving morning as we get you set for Arizona and Michigan State. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Let's get to know the Michigan State Spartans a little bit.
Our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game is brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com.
Well, like we said at the top of this show, this is the second big game of the season, and Tommy Lloyd is, for one, excited about it.
We're fired up. I mean, we get an opportunity to go play one of the great programs in college basketball. I mean, Coach Izzo, someone I really look up to. They're a program that's built on grit and fight, and I'm expecting a knockdown dragout. I mean, they might have lost a couple games. Obviously this James Madison team sounds like they're kind of like one of the talks of the mid-majors in college basketball. I haven't watched the game yet, but I heard they're really good. And then, they lost a tough one to Duke, in the Champions Classic. So, they're going to take this as an opportunity to come play another national caliber program. And I know they're going to take a big swing, and we're going to do the same. So I'm fired up. I think it's a great opportunity for us to continue to build and try to have a successful season.
And with this schedule that the Wildcats have kind of put together here in this non-conference, everybody kind of wants to know how it all happened because, again, we're in this age where these schedules kind of come together a lot later than we're really accustomed to in the past. And so Tommy kind of talking about how this game against Michigan State in this location in Palm Springs on Thanksgiving Day kind of all came together.
Coach Izzo and I've known him for years, and he's been really good to me. I mean, it was put together by other people, but I think there was a mutual respect there, and I've bugged him a little bit here and there to see if we could schedule like a home and home type thing or something like that, and it just hasn't happened yet. But we're grateful for this opportunity for sure.
And that's a quick peek at today's opponent, the Michigan State Spartans.
That's been our first look at today's Arizona men's basketball game. Brought to you by The Window Depot. Lowest prices and biggest inventory. Shop thewindowdepot.com. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & Kay is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in-ready homes and special incentives. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Caruso's, a Tucson tradition since 1938, located on historic 4th Avenue. For 4 generations, Caruso's handmade sauce has been prepared with love by a family member, using only the best ingredients. Enjoy specialty Italian dishes like lasagna al forno, chicken tetrazzini, real Italian sausages, spectacular pizza, as well as many vegetarian options. Caruso's offers outdoor dining on their garden patio with indoor dining also available. Open Tuesday through Sunday, with all your favorites available for takeout. For more information, call 520-624-5765 or visit their website at carusositalian.com.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. As we reflect on the Thanksgiving season, we are grateful to have been serving the Tucson area for over 22 years. Your business and consideration are much appreciated. When you need us, please call at 520-440-4069 for all your cooling, heating, and plumbing needs.
Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, Bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Direct from Vegas, the Clairvoyance Holiday Spectacular, a brand new interactive show for the holiday season, featuring mind reading, magic tricks, and illusions, with a special appearance by Mr. Coney Hondini, the world's first mind-reading dog. Saturday, December 23rd, 8 p.m., Diamond Center at Desert Diamond Casino Sahuarita. On sale at Desert Diamond Reward Center or online at etix.com. Experience the Clairvoyance live.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
David Kelly along with Kelvin Ifan, the captain. J.W. Madden, Arizona Wildcats, number 3 in the nation, taking on the 21st ranked Michigan State Spartans today. Over in Palm Springs, it's the Acrisure Classic. Tip-off coming up for you right here on Wildcats Radio 1290
Kelvin,
and K-Hit 107.5 FM at 2 p.m.
How do you feel about a organization naming their thing a classic, and it's the first year they ever had it?
Wait a minute, who
This
named
is
the
called
classic?
the Acrisure Classic is the name of this event, and this is the first time they've ever held it.
Yeah, I don't know about being a classic, but when you think of these two teams, these heavyweights going, I can see where they're going with this.
Yeah.
Trying to turn into classic from year one, yeah, for sure.
Right.
Absolutely. All right, we want to hear from you today, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. If you want to get in on the program on this Thanksgiving Day and talk some Arizona basketball with us. In fact, let's hear from Danny. You're on the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
Good morning, Danny. Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, yeah, happy and safe Thanksgiving to all you guys. Kelvin, David, my boy J-Dub. You know, you were talking, David, you were talking about 1290 stance, what's in the family, right, of other stations the other day. You know, and that's all because of J-Dub and Kelvin. I mean, I don't know. You got those numbers.
Absolutely. These guys prop me up.
Nah, man, it's just like you all know I love you. So I couldn't go to this. I thought I was going to this, so I'm going to be with you guys the whole time. Awesome. Hey, listen, you are all talking about the crowd. And some of us we're spoiled. Kelvin would be included from the years you were in New Jersey. J-Dub and I have talked about how we've been at McHale forever. I mean, my seat that has the shape of my butt, right, on it. So we get critical. Like, it used to be just crazy all the time, but we're thinking about games like when Shaq was here and when double overtime against Duke. How about the time when you talk about our tradition where you don't sit down until they make a basket? There was a game, J-Dub, do you remember this? When against ASU It went 12 minutes of game time before we got to sit in the second half.
That was recently, wasn't it?
Remember that, David?
I remember. Wasn't that recently, like in the last few years? I thought I remember that since I've been here.
Well, as I age, it was somewhere in the final 4 years.
Okay,
I
well,
thought
maybe not.
The difference
somewhere
there,
around
though,
when you know.
The difference there, Danny, is when the fans stand for 6 minutes straight against UT Arlington, you feel bad for the fans. But when the fans stand for 12 minutes straight against ASU, you don't feel bad for the fans at all. You want them to stand for 20 minutes straight.
It was rocking. It was rocking, and it's moving back that way, right, guys? It's moving back that way. It's pretty much sold out, and that's the way it's gonna be again. Hey, I wanted to say something too about what you're mentioning. Oh, blessings and honor to Dick McConnell from the other day's show. I coached some swirl baseball for a while. He was a good friend. He and his wife became my realtor. He was a wonderful man, in the Hall of Fame, Arizona Hall of Fame, rightfully so, for basketball. I'm thinking, we look at the scheduling, and, Tommy's in his third year now. You all know I bought Tommy from day one. I'm on the Tommy train, 100. And I think March 16th, Tommy's learning Tucson, and I think the way he handled recruiting and with the NIL and the transfers this year, man, I think that's a 5-star, because look at all the connections he has. You were talking about his connection with Tom Izzo. Hey, the last time we had a tournament at McHale, like the first rounds, UTEP was here with all the cars they could get started in El Paso. and so
wait, is that
a friend of mine in the
inside joke? Hey, wait a minute, Danny. Is that an inside
I think
joke
you got
I
it.
don't know about?
You got it.
I laugh, but I don't know what it means.
It's an old school rival insult.
I mean, they filled the place. Yeah, I mean, it's appropriate. I'm glad you caught it. Hey, so listen, I had a buddy of mine was in the development office, and so I had a job, where I had to go stand where the team buses would come in when they're coming in, but it gave me an all-access pass, like you would have, David, so I can go to the interviews and such.
Right.
Tom Izzo, man, he's a legend, and I got to tell you, that was so long ago. He smokes, like he gets off of that bus and he's smoking a cigarette, and he smokes another one before he goes in. Then he's coming out before it's their team's turn. I'm standing there smoking cigarettes with Tom Izzo, and he smokes like, he's on crack, and the guy's still going, So, and I just want to, I want to show my love and respect. Kelvin, J-Dub, I've been talking to you guys forever. I love you guys' show, David. And I think that Tommy has gotten a learning experience in the last 2 years of what we expect and what our standard is. And I think we're starting to see it, and we're starting to see the results within the crowd because of it, right? And he's got so many friends. Look at his connections. Look at the games. A lot of those have to do with his friendships, right? So, I haven't been to a Final Four since I was 38 in 2001. But God bless it. I told a buddy of mine who went to the game, Duke, Steve Rivera. I said, I don't think Cameron's going to make my bucket list at this point, but I'm going to get to another Final Four, right?
Yeah, let's hope it's.
I'm going to get to whatever
soon,
Final
man.
Four we go to.
I came here in 2008. I thought I would have been to a few by now.
That's right. And I appreciate you and all your knowledge and what you bring, David. And here's what I'm going to say. I'm just going to put my 2 cents in for today's game. You saw the spread go from like 2.5 to 3.5, and it was 5.5 this morning.
Yeah.
You may or may not.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm giving the points.
Yeah.
Straight up. BetMGM. Arizona, we will cover. I just think we're more polished than they are, and I don't think that defensive prowess that they're said to have is going to shut us down. We have too many options in the way they cover the floor.
Awesome stuff, Danny. Enjoy the game today. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you kindly. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Bear down, Danny.
Appreciate you.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number for you to get in on the program today.
I was at that game, too. I think that was Steve Smith era. Michigan State came into town for the NCAA tournament. I think it's as simple as the play style, Kelvin. I think if you look at Coach Miller, he ran a much slower style. Coach Lloyd these last few years brought back that open style, run up and down, lots of big highlight plays. I think the crowd senses that. The crowd's, Kelvin, has seen so many damn years of Lou Olson-style basketball. No disrespect to Coach Miller, but there just wasn't a lot of up and down that they were used to. And now that it's back to that, I kind of get the feeling like the crowd's ready to make those big noise, big runs, that kind of thing.
And now Lloyd got the type of athletes out there too now. I mean, the athleticism, and I guarantee you at this time last year we did not have this many dunks or this many guys that were dunkers, right? So it's exciting just to see every guy out there with the type of athleticism and defensive pressure to be able to make something happen. And I think that crowd is going to continue to buy into that and fall in love with that because again, that's what they know, that's what they've seen.
All right, we're going to get in on the text groove here. We got a shout out from Grandma Eleanor checking in. Happy Thanksgiving Day to everyone at Wildcats Radio 1290. We appreciate Grandma Eleanor Amata for checking in as she always does. And we miss her grandson, David, here, who was a part of this program here when we first got going in June. All right, let's get to know one of our Wildcats just a little bit better.
Our pregame show Spotlight on a Cat is brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet.
All right, today's Spotlight is going to be on the transfer guard from the University of Alabama. Jaden Bradley had his first big game of the season on Sunday. 13 points for Jaden. A 6'3", 200-pound sophomore out of Rochester, New York. And Jaden just talking about his transition here to the University of Arizona and playing well for the first time.
Just a couple games under my belt, coaches in my ear, my teammates in my ear, just giving me that confidence and, just felt great today.
Did you were you looking for your shot more maybe in this one?
Just playing Arizona basketball, getting multiple ball screens, getting 2 feet in the paint and, taking the right shot and it was going in today.
What's been the biggest transition for you, kind of learning this system, learning the way Tommy wants you to play during these 5 games?
Just trusting what he's telling you. It might not work the first time, but, stick with it and it's going to work out in the end. So, just trusting him and trusting my teammates and, everything's going to work out for itself.
I think it might have been your first shot that you made where it was kind of like you did a bit of a ball fake and then a step back and all that. Is that something that maybe you weren't as willing to do the first few games?
Yeah, I just been in the gym, with Rim and, Coach Lloyd, and they've been instilling that confidence in me and trusting the shots that I shoot in practice and, translating that to the game.
You feel different with these few home games just going into this versus going into the Duke game? I mean, more, were there little things you found you kind of were able to work on in these games?
Just playing hard, no matter who steps on the court, Duke game was hard. Every game has been tough, so just coming to the mindset next game, playing, a great team. They had a great schedule. And, that's what we look for, playing other great opponents. So really going to be tested.
Jaden Bradley in the game on Sunday, 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting.
For Larson, feed it off for Bradley. Slashing his way down right of the lane, turns, fade away up and good for Jaden Bradley.
Jaden Bradley get to his spot, 7-8 feet right off the lane line. He gets a little ball fake, knocks down the J.
15-13 Arizona. And Larson will inbound it to Bradley. Jaden will pick it up. Crosses the midcourt line, works his way down into the lane. Stop, jumper is up and good with 3 seconds left in the half. Here goes Pella on the run. Larson down, leave it off for Love. Caleb, one bounce, nobody open inside. Cross court, Jaden Bradley for 3, and Bradley drains a Lexus of Tucson Charity 3, and timeout called by UT Arlington.
13 points for Jaden Bradley. It was good to see him kind of get into and find his scoring punch in that ball game. In the first few games, hadn't really taken he's averaging about 6 to 7 shots per ball game. but hadn't hit any more than 2 in any one given game coming in, but had a chance to kind of really find it. And again, a guy who's, I think, the one thing that kind of stands out to me about Jaden Bradley is he's long. He's a long guard out there, which is something that is a little bit different, I think, than Caleb and Kylan and even KJ. He just seems like his arms go on for days out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a 6'3" point guard, but I'm going to tell you first and foremost what I love about Jaden is this. He's a sophomore. And with a guy like Kylan Boswell that could easily leave after this year, he's our highest ranked NBA prospect. For Lloyd to already have the future point guard here already, learning the system, getting real playing time, making a difference in games. I just think that was just a great find right there, first and foremost. Then secondly, this is just a tough kid that plays tough basketball. He's not necessarily a scorer, I don't believe. I just think he's a winner. He plays on the defensive end of the court. He gives you everything there. Defensive end of the court, he can play different positions at 1, 2, 3 with his size. And then on the offense end, he always trying to get everybody else going. I think it's a product of the system that he's able to get the shots that he get, and some of the teams will play off of him because you rather have him shooting than Love or Boswell or Larson or one of those guys. So he's going to have to take advantage of it, and he proved in his last game, UTA, that, hey, coaches, you better think twice about trying to leave him open.
We asked a couple weeks ago who'd be the backup, but he was bringing the ball up, DK, with Kylan Boswell in the game. I got a question for Coach Kelvin. Is there such a thing as too many ball handlers on a roster?
No, sir.
Exactly.
No, sir. No, sir. I'd rather have, and if you notice, the NBA game went to more ball handlers because you'd rather have guys that could take care of the ball and make more plays than basically big stiffs just standing around. Nobody's open. They turn the ball over. Can't get back on defense in time to get a charge or to get a steal. No, let's get one more guy out there that actually has some athleticism and some playmaking ability, and it makes your team better. I mean, Golden State been getting away with it forever with Draymond Green being 6'4", playing center.
The more guards, the better.
There you go. And that's a look at Jaden Bradley, guard sophomore transfer from Alabama.
As today's Spotlight on a Cat has been brought to you by O'Reilly Chevrolet. Get more with O'Reilly Chevrolet. This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Advanced Auto Care, Crest Insurance Group, Desert Diamond Casinos, First Chiropractic, Frog in Firkin, Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates, Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating and Plumbing, the Polston Results Team with Keller Williams, Southern Arizona, Royal GMC Buick and Cadillac, Royal Kia, Royal Jaguar Land Rover, the Window Depot.
Message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt. You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness. Lisa Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good, until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Go to the Good Feet store at 4811 East Grant Road or at goodfeet.com.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Broadway in Tucson presents the Rockin' 2023-2024 season featuring 8 blockbuster productions including Disney's Aladdin, The Book of Mormon, Hairspray, and Chicago. Enjoy the Southern Arizona musical premieres of Tina, the Tina Turner Musical, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Time of the Temptations, MJ the Musical, and Mrs. Doubtfire. Secure your choice season tickets today and get the ultimate in flexibility and the lowest prices all season. Visit BroadwayInTucson.com and secure your season tickets today.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hour number 2 of the program. David Kelly along with Calvin Efon as well as J.W. Madden here. It is Arizona taking on Michigan State this afternoon over in Palm Springs, California, the Acrisure Classic. Let's tell you a little bit about what's coming up on hour number 2 of the show.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
And we'll have our scoreboard. We'll check in on the rest of the Pac-12 coming up here in just a moment. Also going to get to know the Michigan State Spartans. Blake Froling from the Spartans Media Network will join us this hour, and he'll talk a little bit about that club. They've been dealing with some injury and some illness, but look to be good to go coming into the game today. We'll hear more from Coach Lloyd on the progress of this Wildcats team through 5 games. Got your best of the game straight ahead, your best bets. The over-under on this one today is 148. You heard our caller in the last hour, Danny, mentioned the line at 5.5. Tom Izzo also going to be, we'll hear from him coming up a little bit later as well. 520-848-1290 is the number if you want to get in on the program. How about the shooting night for Umar Ballo in the last game against UT Arlington?
Keshad feed it top for Love, coming off a 20-point game inside Ballo, who slams it home with 2 hands.
A team that does not block a lot of shots, Brian. The Mavericks don't contest at the rim. Arizona could feast.
He'd missed some bunnies in the game Friday night. Didn't really miss any bunnies. He just kind of slammed all those bunnies home in the game on Sunday. Umar having a pretty nice shooting night at 7 for 8 from the floor. That's really what you want to see from the big man, Umar Ballo. And he's been dealing with a little bit. We weren't sure what the injury was, but he did elaborate on that a little bit after the game.
Nothing really too much. I just got hit in the knees a little bit, and they were trying to rest me a little bit, so that's why I didn't have to play much, but nothing really to worry about it.
Kelvin, it seems like when he's healthy, he shoots 85% from the field. Because like last year, remember he started out with that stretch the first 15 games, and then he had the little thumb thing, I think it was, for a bit, and he had another nagging injury. But, man, that guy's healthy. 7 for 8 is what I expect.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, he's getting around that rim and he's finishing. No little hooks, no little layups off the backboard. He's going up trying to tear the rim down. And that's what you expect out of a big fella like him. Intimidating type dunks around the rim. You know, anytime when he's not playing that way, it always make you think something else is going on with him. So it's good seeing him playing aggressive.
And obviously with him dealing with a little bit of an injury, we got to see a little bit more from Mo Krivas in this particular game on Sunday.
Lewis now, secondary break, back door to Law, underneath, Krivas will slam it home.
Share the sugar, passing it around, and Krivas finishes it.
That play right there, guys, is like the epitome of Lloyd's style. I mean, just that idea of the unselfishness, Kelvin, because Love, had a look there, but he did a little wraparound. That was a little 2-foot wraparound in traffic to Krivas for the dunk off the baseline. Just a really pretty play. And just that extra pass, you're going to get a lot of open looks if you just make that extra unselfish pass to your open teammate.
Share the sugar. I like that call. Share the sugar from our guy Ryan Hansen there. Yeah, that was a very nice ball movement play there for the Arizona Wildcats that came in the second half of the ball game, and Omar Ballo impressed what he's seen from the young Mo Krivas.
I mean, it is just a big relief for me, when you got a guys who can, come in and do just as good as you can do, and also like keep foul pressure on the other bigs. It just gonna help me down the stretch. So I'm really grateful that we have him here.
I know it's only been 5 games, but you guys played at Duke. You've been in a big moment already. What have you seen out of him in terms of high pressure situations?
Man, it's crazy. He's just a freshman. You don't literally see that like nowadays. A freshman coming in, stepping up, have big moment, playing the big games, and Mo is a pro, honestly. Even though he's a freshman, but he's a pro. He knows how to take care of his body, and he knows how to put himself in a good position, to score easy basket.
It's going to be interesting, and we'll get into this when Tom Izzo addresses this later on. He said kind of something funny about Mo Krivas, and we'll get into that when we hear it. But I think the interesting thing there is that Tommy isn't really overextending this young man just yet. You heard Umar kind of say, how, and the question was, how's he kind of been in some of those high pressure situations? I don't think that Tommy's really put him in any high pressure situations yet. He's just allowed him to kind of get in there in the flow of the game, get his minutes, and obviously they're having. I don't know that I saw him a whole lot at the end of the Duke game. It'll be interesting to see maybe if we see him more at the end of this game if it gets tight down the stretch.
Yeah, I just think that's just situational. I think that if when Ballo is available and Ballo is fresh, you're gonna go with Ballo. That's just bottom line. But if he's in foul trouble, I don't think you hesitate at all to put the big fella in on either end of the court. You have to, not you, because I know you understand, but people have to remember this, is that these guys are coming from international playing. They play in big tournaments for gold medals. So trust me, they understand the magnitude. Secondly, same to me with the KJ Lewis's of the world. They're playing at these elite high schools, at these elite prep schools, getting ready for these type of moments. So a lot of times these young men that are coming in now, these situation ain't as big as compared to guys playing at regular high schools.
Yeah, absolutely.
You also got to factor in, the big in America, Kelvin, that they're cat, right? Those guys are out trying to shoot from 3. They're trying to take guys off the dribble. There's a lot more positionless style for guys who are 6'10", 7 feet tall in America. In Europe, I guarantee you Mo Krivas was playing against 25, 30-year-olds when he was 16, right? Like he was a big playing in the post. And what happens as a result is you don't get rattled, right? You're down there. You've been playing your whole life against grown men. He's clearly a post-first guy. What he said really he needs to learn most, he's learned from Ballo. We had that cut last week for the pregame, is just those ripping at the ball, like all-American style of defense. When a big, don't bring the ball down. That's rule number one. And if he learns to ball security in those traffic situations, Kelvin, I mean, as far as his release, it's super high. He's obviously got multiple moves, and he's super quick decision-making. So to me, I just see a guy who's played his whole life against grown men who know how to play defense in the post, and he's adjusted his style of finishing. As a result, super confident. That's why you see that confidence as a freshman to be able to do damage in the post. He's been doing it his whole life.
No, and he thinks he was, at least he thought for a moment he might be a guard there in that game on Sunday.
He tried. Yeah, he tried.
I think he's seen, like I said, I think he's seen the tapes of Umar Ballo, who did it earlier this season, and Christian Coloco, who did it in the game against ASU the season before that. So we'll see how much handle he has moving on.
Well, I'll say this. A lot of the bigs from Europe, our bigs are kind of copying their bigs because their bigs came over and been so successful playing on the perimeter. So a lot of these guys, he has that. But one thing that I love about him is he understands that on this team, he's going to be needed to score around the rim, and that's where he's going to be more effective. So I actually like him having a restraint of not trying to do too much, because a lot of these guys come in able to shoot the three or take threes. I won't necessarily say actually shoot the three at a high percentage, but they take threes, and it's kind of cool to see the guys temper themselves a little bit and try to fit into the system more.
520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program today. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show. We are not the only ones working on this Thanksgiving Day. So are some other teams in the Pac-12 Conference.
The Pac-12 Scoreboard is brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery.
This will be the first game of the day at the Acrisure Arena in Palm Springs, a beautiful new 10,000-seat facility. This is where the Coachella Valley Firebirds hockey team that plays in the American Hockey League with the Tucson Roadrunners, they play in this arena over there. And this will be a 2 o'clock start today between number 3 Arizona and number 21 Michigan State. The Spartans come in at 3-2. The Wildcats, of course, are 5-0. At 3:30, it'll be Seton Hall at the Rady Children's Invitational. This is at the Lion Tree Arena in San Diego. I'm not sure what the Lion Tree Arena is or where that is, or that's a new name for the existing arena that's in San Diego, but they'll take on the Southern California Trojans. The Trojans are ranked number 23 right now in the country, and they come in at 3-1, a 4.5-point favorite today over Seton Hall. That's a 3:30 start. At 5:30, at the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis. This is now the men's version of this tournament, which the Arizona Wildcats women played in earlier this week and last weekend, playing Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Now the men's version is being played at the Imperial Arena, and it is Stanford down there representing the Pac-12 Conference. The Cardinal at 3-2 will take on the other team from Michigan today, the Michigan Wolverines. And the Wolverines are also 3-2 on the season. The final game of the evening, the Pac-12 Conference, will be the Vegas Showdown at the Michelob Ultra Arena in Las Vegas, and that will be a future Big 12 matchup between the BYU Cougars, who are off to a 4-0 start this season, and Bobby Hurley and the Arizona State Sun Devils, who are 2-1 so far, lost their opener but have won their last 2 games. BYU enters that ball game at BYU enters at 4-0, and the Sun Devils are 2-1 on the season thus far. No finals on the board yet in the top 25, but one game is in progress. Number 12 Texas A&M is leading Penn State 39-32. This is at the ESPN Events Invitational, and both of those teams entered that game at 4-0. Other ranked teams playing today: number 14 North Carolina, also down in Atlantis. They will face Villanova. The Tar Heels are 4-0 to start this season. Also at that ESPN Events Invitational is Florida Atlantic, another team on the schedule for the Wildcats coming up. The FAU squad is now ranked 19th in the country. They will face Butler today. Butler is 3-1. Number 8, Creighton will take on Colorado State at the Hall of Fame Classic. That is in Kansas City, Missouri. Number 20, Arkansas will be in Atlantis as well against Memphis. That is the game, the final game that wraps out the top 25.
I had to run down the hall. Did you talk about yesterday's games?
We did not, no.
Oh, my. Did you see that Maui field, Kelvin? So yesterday, number 1 team in the country played the number 7 team in the country for third place in that tournament because it was number 1. Here's the list going into that tournament. You ready? Number 1, Kansas. Number 2, Purdue. Number 4, Marquette. Number 7, Tennessee. And number 11, Gonzaga.
Wow.
All of those teams were represented in yesterday's. In the semifinal, it was, to play for third place, it was Kansas versus Tennessee. Purdue defeated Marquette. So that's number 2 over number 4 in the country in the current rankings for the championship. But
and it was Marquette that knocked off Kansas.
Yeah, exactly. And UCLA and Gonzaga played as well. I think they played for 5th place in yesterday's game. So just a bunch of big-name schools. I love to see that. I love to see these early season tournaments when all the big-name schools go out to the island and try to beat up on each other and learn what they need to take back to their schools and learn from it.
So in all likelihood now, when the new rankings come out over the weekend, Purdue will likely be the number 1 team in the country, which means the Arizona Wildcats, provided they don't lose today, will move up to number 2.
They will
ahead
most
of Kansas.
Definitely be the number 1 team in the country, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Zach Edey, 28 points and 15 rebounds in that win over Marquette.
Monster.
He's a pretty good player, as Tommy Lloyd might say. He's a pretty good player. All right. That's the interesting. And it was interesting. We were talking, and somebody brought this up, and I wasn't sure. I don't know if they asked us this on the air yesterday, or maybe somebody asked me this off the air, but we weren't sure what was going on with the Maui Invitational, if they were even having the event this year because of all the fires that were going on. That had happened, obviously, during the summer months in Maui. But good to see that the tournament continued, because that's obviously important revenue for the state of Hawaii and the island of Maui for that particular event to be able to take place. All right, let's get another break in here. When we come back, we are going to have our scouting report. Blake Froling from the Spartans Media Network will join us, and we will find out what is going on with this team that comes into this game today to face Arizona, 3-2 on the season. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. Arizona and Michigan State today in Palm Springs with Calvin Ifan. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
That's been the Pac-12 Scoreboard, brought to you by Mesquite Valley Growers. Mesquite Valley Growers. Real growers, real experience, real nursery. This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
At Standard Restaurant Supply, their vision and number 1 goal is to improve the lives of their customers and clients by providing a better culinary experience. Standard Restaurant Supply, if it's in a restaurant and not food, they have it. Open to the public, no membership fees, and they offer bulk store pricing without the bulk store purchase. Open Monday through Saturday at 601 South Cherry Avenue or call 885-2345. Standard Restaurant Supply is a proud sponsor of the U of A Radio Sports broadcast. The new Blue Whale Car Wash, formerly Octopus Car Wash, is now open. They're locally owned and operated and offer many ways for you to save. Start now by downloading the Blue Whale Car Wash app. Then visit their website at bluewhalecarwashaz.com to find a location near you. Don't forget to follow them on Instagram and Facebook for even more savings. And for a limited time, their exterior-only wash is $5 at all 4 locations. Blue Whale Car Wash, proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
Parts in Tucson? Look no further. Advance Auto Parts has 6 Tucson locations with over 75 years in business. Advance Auto Parts is the largest car parts retailer in the U.S., and customers know they can trust their products, like Die-Hard batteries. Now with free installation, only found at Advance Auto Parts stores. Take advantage of our same-day delivery and pickup. Just visit our website at stores.advanceautoparts.com and make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Advance Auto Parts, for all your car repair needs. Now a proud radio sponsor of the University of Arizona Wildcats.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. As we reflect on the Thanksgiving season, we are grateful to have been serving the Tucson area for over 22 years. Your business and consideration are much appreciated. When you need us, please call at 520-440-4069 for all your cooling, heating, and plumbing needs.
Hi, this is Natalie Fernandez of Meridian Wealth Management, and I'd like to invite you to our complimentary retirement income workshop held every Friday at 10 a.m. in our offices at the Williams Center. We discuss the key risks in retirement, how retirement has changed, and how to best plan for success. A recent study showed 60% of retirees would go back and plan differently if they could. We want to help you avoid the would've, could've, should've. Call our office at 719-1433 to reserve your seat today.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290. Our 1290 Scouting Report is brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double.
All right, let's take a closer look at today's opponent, the Michigan State Spartans. Pleased to be joined by Spartans Media Network anchor Blake Froling. And Blake, first of all, let's get an update. We understand that Tyson Walker will be good to go for today's game after missing the last game due to an illness.
Yes, all signs point to go, barring any kind of setbacks. I think he was just feeling a little bit under the weather the other day, and with how much he's been playing the past few games, they just figured to be on the safe side to give him a night off before this big matchup against Arizona. So I expect him to be playing at 100%.
Leading scorer, obviously, on this team, averaging 23 points per ball game, leading scorer by a mile. What exactly can Arizona fans expect from Tyson Walker, the basketball player?
Well, it's really interesting because he's getting it done in a much different way than we're used to. He was almost a 45% three-point shooter last year, and this year the outside shooting just hasn't quite been there, but he's averaging 10 more points a game because he's getting to the rim a lot more. He's getting fouled, which is something for a smaller guy he wasn't really doing that much last year. And he's finishing around the rim almost 20% better on twos than a year ago. So he's not just settling for those threes, which I know will come around eventually. His game offensively has become even more versatile on all three levels, and it just makes it that much tougher to defend him.
Yeah, and Tyson Walker is obviously 23 years old, older in his fifth year. Christ the King High School, there was a guy way back in the day here at Arizona named Khalid Reeves, who also came out of Christ the King. Similar style, really tight dribble and really strong body. You mentioned he's really adept this year at drawing fouls. From the The highlights I've seen, it seems like he's kind of going in there and doing what he wants to do. He's very strong with the ball and very adept, got a little floater game and in traffic. So definitely showing up, him scoring at all three levels this year.
Yeah, and it's really good to see that development because when he came over from Northeastern a couple of years ago, he came in as a prolific scorer, but then took a step back, kind of wanted to just facilitate the offense more as a true point guard. And Coach Izzo had to keep saying, hey, you are open. You have to shoot. You have to be more aggressive for this team to reach its potential. And it really kicked in last year, and it's ramped up a notch even this year. And I know he's only 6 foot, but he is jacked. I mean, he is all muscle. He's put on more muscle from this offseason, and that's going to really serve him well going into games like this against a bigger team like Arizona.
Blake Froling joining us from the Spartans Media Network. It is our scouting report brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double. Another guy that has been dealing with a little bit of an injury this season, Malik Hall. I understand he is also set to go.
So Malik has been pretty good this year. He's been in all 5 games. He was banged up. He did tweak his ankle a couple of games ago. I believe it was against Butler, and then got dinged up again Sunday night against Alcorn State. I think it's just a minor thing. I don't think he's going to be limited in any way. As a precaution, they held him out in the second half against Alcorn State with the game already in hand. But I think Malik is going to be kind of an X factor for Michigan State against Arizona because of his size. Goes about 6'8", but he can defend wings, he can defend guards, and can even help on a double team against the huge centers that Arizona's got. So he's really a defensive linchpin, and his energy becomes infectious.
You mentioned the three-point shooting earlier when you were talking about Tyson Walker, and that was one of the things we had heard about this club was obviously the first 2 games did not go well from behind the arc. I believe it was 2 for 31. How has the three-point shooting game for the Spartans come along since then?
Well, man, it was mind-boggling to watch a team miss so many wide-open threes. You know, you can watch some offenses and you say, well, they're just not getting good looks and they're forcing contested threes. That's why they're not making them. But this offense was generating plenty of open looks, just as many as last year. And for whatever reason, they weren't falling. But in the last couple of games, that is notched up. And against Alcorn State on Sunday, Michigan State was 10 of 25 from 3. So you hope that can continue against Arizona because when you're shooting 20% from 3, you're not going to beat anybody of any worth, no matter how good your defense is.
You know, this isn't a team that does not appear to have a lot of size, Blake. How could that potentially be a detriment to what you guys are going to want to do against a bigger team in Arizona?
Yeah, you're right. You know, across the board, Arizona matches up a little bit bigger at every position. And, of course, with the 2 7-foot centers, it hurts not having sophomore Jackson Kohler in the lineup. You know, he injured his foot, and we're hoping to get him back around Christmas, New Year's. And he is really, of the 3 true centers on the roster, he had the most polished offensive game. So you'll see Carson Cooper most likely in the starting lineup with Monty Sissoko playing pretty much an even split at the 5. And they have gotten so much better year over year defensively with that basketball IQ, rim protecting, and rebounding, especially with Cooper, who wasn't really expected to play much last year, and now he's a starter. So offensively, they're not going to be as much of a factor, but defensively, if they can, it's going to be a huge test, the biggest test of the season, to see if they can stay out of foul trouble against these 2 centers that are going to have, 3 or 4 inches on each of them.
Yeah, Carson Cooper, an all-state goalkeeper in soccer at 6'11". We play a lot of soccer out here. I don't think I've ever seen too many goalkeepers at 6'11", though, on any of the fields around southern Arizona.
Man, you see a guy like that, he's blotting out the sun. I don't know how you can get a ball around him at all.
That's crazy. That's pretty crazy. How is he developed? I mean, obviously, he just kind of moved into the starting lineup. What's the ceiling for him, do they believe, as he kind of gets his career going in East Lansing?
Well, it's interesting. He's kind of a late bloomer. He didn't really follow sports growing up like most college basketball players did. Basketball wasn't a huge thing, but when you grow up and you're 6'11", you kind of have a path laid out for you. So some of those fundamentals maybe were later to arrive, but he's just been such a grinder at Michigan State, doing all the right things. He's soaking up that knowledge, and he was the third center on this roster last year, but because of his hustle, he's an excellent offensive rebounder. He's become a lot smarter as a shot blocker, going up more vertically. So I don't expect to see much more offensively from him. If you can get 5 or 6 points a night, I think Tom Izzo would be pretty happy with that, as long as he can anchor that back line and maybe allow Michigan State to play a little smaller 1 through 4. I think he'd be very pleased with that.
Blake, you mentioned that, well, we were talking about the first game, 1 for 20 in that loss to James Madison. A lot of the conversation nationally has been about the shooting woes for the Spartans, but everybody out there knows what Tom Izzo teams bring to the table year in, year out. So as far as that defensive intensity, really crashing the boards on every single possession, how's the team looking thus far in the season as far as those typical Izzo traits that we're all used to?
Well, defense, rebounding, running, those are the 3 big keys for any Tom Izzo team. The defense has been outstanding, even better than last year, and it was the reason why they kept the Duke game so close when that shooting was not very good. You know, they're holding opponents around 35% from the field and about 28% from 3. So 1 through 5, they've been incredibly impressive. Tyson Walker at 6 foot, 6'1" or 2 maybe on the stat sheet, but he's probably the best pound-for-pound defender we've seen at Michigan State in a few years, as well as Jaden Akins. Malik Hall is so switchy. So defensively, that has been the best part for Michigan State. The rebounding has been a bit of a struggle, part of that due to so many missed free throws for the Spartans. Tom Izzo pointed out, when you're missing a lot of free throws, you're going to give up a lot of rebounds too. So they've been getting hurt a little bit rebounding, which has been a bit surprising to see. And one thing I think you're going to see tomorrow, and for both teams really, is that tempo. Michigan State really wants to run. They can play 10 guys just like Arizona does. I know the Wildcats are top 10 in pace, and Michigan State wants to be there. The fast break has been come and go, but when you're missing so many shots and not getting those defensive rebounds, it's hard to get the break going. It got a little bit better against Alcorn State, but I think you're going to see a track meet between these two teams because of how deep both of them are.
Yeah, you mentioned Tyson Walker maybe only being 6 feet. I saw some highlights last year of him just going straight up and getting some blocks with that crazy athleticism. So certainly he's got that want-to that Coach Izzo's looking for from his guards.
You know, it's so funny because he's a quiet guy. He's not very outspoken, but when he's on the court, he has that quiet intensity, kind of like a junkyard dog. And you'll see AJ Hogard, his backcourt mate. He does most of the actual talking, the barking, if you will. But Tyson will lock up anybody 1 through 3 because he has that pound-for-pound strength. He's so quick. His hands, he's one of the best at steals in the Big Ten so far this year. And if you're sloppy with the ball, he's going to jump a passing lane, pick your pocket, and take it the other way with ease.
We know, again, being joined by Blake Froling here on our scouting report today. Blake, we know a lot about a Hall of Fame coach in Lute Olson here in Tucson. What has it been like just to be a part of this program under this Hall of Fame coach in Tom Izzo?
I hope that fans aren't taking Coach Izzo for granted, just like I hope any other program with a Hall of Fame coach like that doesn't, because we're just so used to, you know, the streak over 25 years of making the tournament. It's just unheard of. The baseline for a Michigan State program under Tom Izzo is better than most programs' heights, and I hope we don't lose sight of that and how consistent he has been throughout all the changes in college basketball over the last 25 years with the one and dones and then NIL. Every new change, people kind of thought, well, the game is going to pass Izzo by. He's too old school. He won't be able to adapt. And then he does. You know, when he signs this recruiting class, Xavier Booker is the highest ranked recruit to ever commit to Tom Izzo and Michigan State. So it doesn't seem like it, but he is able to adapt so well to the changing landscape of college basketball. And I think he's kind of developed a family atmosphere in the program. You don't see a lot of disgruntled players. They have this thing called Grit Week every summer where they bring former Spartans back. And it's crazy how many guys, even from the 80s, before Izzo was the head coach, will come back because they have that family atmosphere. So I think when you run a program like that, it kind of transcends whatever is new and trendy in college basketball. It keeps persevering.
And Blake, before we let you go, obviously we've got one of your more famous alumni out here now in the desert as the owner of the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia. What's kind of Ishbia's legacy there as a guy that was a part of that program and now has gone on to great heights in basketball ownership?
Well, I think he's a great story, right? A walk-on, plays 4 years for Michigan State, and then turns United Wholesale Mortgage into this multi-billion-dollar company, one of the biggest mortgage companies. And he's just a hard worker, and his energy is infectious. And I think Suns fans, everybody in the state of Arizona, are going to love him as an owner. I know there are some owners out there that maybe just want a team for the tax write-off or just to make some money, but that man will do literally whatever it takes to bring a championship to his team or his company, whatever he wants to do. He is the ultimate competitor, and I think a lot of that came from being in the Michigan State program. So, quite frankly, I'm jealous. I know we in Detroit, we have another Spartan, Tom Gores, who owns the Pistons, but, man, Ishbia, he's going to do whatever it takes to bring a championship to Phoenix, and you've kind of seen it with some of these offseason moves already.
Hey, Blake, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us and enjoy the game today out there in Palm Springs.
Thanks so much for having me.
That's today's 1290 Scouting Report, brought to you by Ram Plumbing. When your plumbing is in trouble, call Ram on the double.
Our thanks to Blake Froling for joining us on the program today. A lot of good stuff there on this Michigan State Spartans team. Tom Izzo, their Hall of Fame coach. Again, I think he's 16th right now all time in wins. It seems like I think he's only been there since like 1995. It seems like he's been there a lot longer than that to me, but.
Yeah, forever. I mean, I don't remember a time before Tom Izzo.
Was that Heathcote? When it
Judd Heathcote. Yeah,
Judd Heathcote.
Yep.
And Heathcote, again, was there forever, too, because he was Magic's
Did he work
coach, right?
for Heathcote?
Yeah, he was number one assistant.
We talked briefly in that interview, Kelvin, about their star player, obviously Tyson Walker. And he's a fifth-year senior. 2 years he spent at Northeastern before transferring over to MSU. Christ the King High School. I had to mention Khalid Reeves, your boy, Khalid Reeves. Do you want to hear some names here, DK, as some of the people who've come out, men and women who've come out of Christ the King?
Yeah.
Lamar Odom. Jason Williams, our own Raleigh Alkins, Omar Cook, Speedy Claxton, Jose Alvarado, and Khalid Reeves, along with Sue Bird, Jamiqua Holtzclaw, and Tina Charles.
So those are all players. Christ the King?
Those are all players who came out of Christ the King High School in Queens.
Wow. I didn't know Sue Bird was from Queens.
Long tradition of producing basketball players.
There you go. I mean, that is a high school to be wanted on the high school basketball scene for sure. Outstanding stuff there. All right, let's get a break in here. When we come back, we'll hear from the head coach, Tommy Lloyd, on the progress these Cats have made through this first 5 games of the season. We also want to hear from you on this Thanksgiving Day, 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. This is a basketball show, but if you want to be excited and talk about the Territorial Cup game coming up on Saturday in Tempe, we can do that too. Just a reminder, that is where we will be. We will be in Tempe on Saturday. We will be at Macayo's ASU Tempe Mexican Food. It is on 650 North Scottsdale Road. We'll be there from 9 to noon for the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day pregame show, and then we'll be back there after the ball game, hopefully doing a lot of margarita shots and whatever else, not celebrating an Arizona Wildcat a win.
Yeah, you guys aren't driving back, so have fun.
No, I'll be camping up there for the night in Tempe on Saturday. It's kind of one of my things that I like to do when they play up there. If I go up to cover the game, I just like to stay up there. I remember a couple times I've gone up in November, and there've been like a big fight nights, and I've stayed up and watched the fight. Found a place to watch the fight. I think the last one I went to was a Canelo Alvarez about 6. I think maybe like 2017. He fought the same night as the Territorial Cup game, and Boy, they love their boxing up there in Phoenix as well. So good stuff as always. All right, it is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. J.W. Madden, Kelvin Ifan, the captain, David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Always trust the big guy. Mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair at coolwillies.com. Cool Willie's is proud to be a partner of the University of Arizona Wildcats basketball radio broadcast. Two powerful teams working hard for you to get the job done right every day. Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing. Big enough to help, small enough to care. Remember to mention your Wildcats and receive $50 off any repair. coolwillies.com.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. For some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. We're here to get you there.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & Kay. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. And coming soon is Del Webb at Rock & Kay, a 55-plus active adult community offering a rec center, world-class amenities that promote health and wellness, and new homes with refined interiors and stunning outdoor spaces. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Hi, this is Natalie Fernandez-Lee, President of Meridian Wealth Management. As a fiduciary investment firm, our clients have trusted us to guide them down their financial paths for decades. Whether you are an individual or family, business, foundation, or nonprofit, we are committed to your long-term goals and financial futures. We are proud supporters of the Tucson community and all that makes our city so special. Visit online at meridianwealthllc.com to learn more about Meridian.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
Old Pueblo Harley-Davidson is the pre-owned inventory destination with hundreds of pre-owned Harley-Davidson motorcycles to choose from. Save $2,000 or even $6,000 at Old Pueblo Harley's pre-owned clearance sale. Now through the end of the month, Old Pueblo is accepting 100% of all credit applications with low financing options available. Take a test ride and receive a free dealer tee. Only at Old Pueblo Harley-Davidson or online at oldpuebloharley.com. Some restrictions may apply. See dealer for details.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Long rebound out to Love. Caleb will take it across midcourt. Skip pass underneath. Ballo open. Slam 2 for Umar. Larson looking inside for Umar. Feed it right for Love. He'll go down the baseline. His shot good off the glass. Love high for Larson. Inside to Ballo. Open. Slam it down. 2 more for Umar Ballo. Lewis now, secondary break, back door to Law, underneath, Travis will slam it home. Share the sugar. Caleb, one bounce, nobody open inside, cross court, Jaden Bradley for three, and Bradley drains. Here's Boswell, three straight away is good. Turn around for Kylan Boswell, pounded his chest. Lewis to Boswell, a three ball is good. Kylan Boswell, I think feeling it a bit here in the second half.
Wow is all you can say.
Kylan Boswell continuing to do his thing for this Arizona Wildcats men's basketball team. He is having one impressive start to this sophomore season, his first as the main starter, the point guard at Point Guard U here for Tommy Lloyd, leading the 5-0 Arizona Wildcats into Palm Springs today to take on the number 21 Michigan State Spartans in a game that will tip here on Wildcats Radio 1290 at 2 o'clock. Welcome back to the program. I am David Kelly, joined as always by Kelvin Efon. J.W. Madden is also here with us as we get you set for this ball game here today. We're talking about Jaden Bradley in that last segment. You heard from, him as well earlier in the show. And let's hear from, his head coach on the performance of Jaden Bradley, who scored 13 points on 5 of 7 shooting in that win Sunday against UT Arlington.
Well, he's played really well all around for the most part. It just, picking and choosing his spots to score. I mean, I think sometimes he's so unselfish, he limits himself a little bit, and I was happy tonight. I think, maybe his first shot maybe wasn't a shot that we practiced much, and but all the other shots were shots that he works on, and he should be proficient at making, and he should be a great finisher and a sufficient shooter, and he showed me he can do that.
It's interesting, the first shot that apparently he doesn't practice one, I thought that was maybe one of his most impressive shots. It was kind of like a little drop back turnaround jumper from about 12 feet out. I was like, man, if he that's I like guys that can make those types of shots from, about that 10 to 13.
That's where he drove like 3 dribbles in the lane, and then he kind of pivoted and came back the other way. That was like a Chris Paul. He'd been watching some Chris Paul film, I think, Kevin.
Nothing wrong. That's definitely a good person to watch in Chris Paul. And it's interesting. You talk about Jaden Bradley, obviously off the bench. We've mentioned Mo Krivas here today. Obviously KJ Lewis as well. Tommy Lloyd asked if this year's team might be the most balanced that he's had here at Arizona.
It's only my third team I've had since I've been here, and that first team was, really good, had 8 players, and you had an explosive guy like Ben, so we had we weren't quite as deep. So, guys maybe got more opportunity and more shots, and Zoo was right there. And then last year's team, we ended up kind of slicing a little thin and only playing 7 guys for the most part. So, I mean, I think the depth gives us the most balance for sure.
No question about that. I mean, that's one of the things we've been talking about in this early part of the season is just the balance from this team, especially on the scoring front when you've got pretty much 7 players averaging double figures on this team.
Yeah, no, as far as the scoring points, for sure, you have 7, possibly 8 guys. But I think more importantly, you have guys that you can depend on defensively. I think that's where the trust come in from the coach. That's where the trust come in from the senior leaders of the team, is being able to play on that defensive end, and then on the offensive end continues to be continuing to be unselfish and let the ball find the open guy. I think that's what you're trying to do here.
Last year, with Kerr and Zoo, not the best one-on-one on-ball defenders, right, Kelvin? But the year before, his first year here, you're talking about Christian Koloko might have been the best defender in the whole country. Dalen Terry, that Swiss Army knife, Kelvin, how many positions could he cover effectively? This year's team is just, as we talked about, 1 through 9. There's a lot of want-to on the defensive end. So you're just talking about that side of the ball specifically. There are so many competent defenders in the backcourt. And then you're talking about bringing a guy like Keishad. Pella Larson, senior as well, is just do everything, always in the right spot kind of defender. So the depth on defense this year is the most impressive thing to me.
And that's where I was going with that. I think a lot of times people, when they think about depth, they think, oh, can this guy score? What can this guy do to help us get more points? And really, is what can this guy do to stop the other team from getting more points, slowing the other guys down? So I think it's always, to me, about what do you bring on the defensive end, because the offensive end is more team oriented. So I just think you have to trust a guy that he's going to give you that defensive effort that is going to take the win.
Well, you mentioned defense, and Umar Ballo talked about that after the game on Sunday. I mean, saying that they are just wearing teams out with the depth that this team has at the defensive end of the floor.
For sure, we have more depth, and also we have so many starters on the team. Unfortunately, only 5 can start, but we have good enough 8 guys who could start anywhere. So that's why it's so hard to keep it up with us.
What does it mean for the team to have a guy like Jaden and then a guy like KJ and Krivas? You guys go 8 deep with 3 solid guys that you can rely upon and not have to have those extra minutes out there on the court.
I'm telling you, we have 8 starters. Those guys are good enough to start any team, and we are just grateful to have those guys come in here and buy into our system and adapt into our culture and just play Arizona basketball. So we're just grateful to have them.
You think? Well, let's dive into that. Jaden Bradley, KJ Lewis, Mo Krivas. I think Mo Krivas could start on a lot of teams. I don't know. I would say though that Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis would be starters just yet.
I kind of disagree with you there, DK. I think both of those guys. I think Jaden Bradley could start point guard for 8 out of the. Maybe 9 out of the 12 teams in the Pac-12.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then KJ Lewis as a 3-man, with some capabilities to play 4. Again, I think at least 7 other teams. I think both of those guys are way underrated, especially defensive, and I think they both have more offensively that they could do. But they're winners, and they're going to make the right plays. They're not going to be looking for theirs. I remember KJ just from high school. He was on a great team with Ronald Holland, who's the #1 player in the nation right now, and he mixed in there well and didn't try to do too much. But I know for sure the capabilities are there.
It's tough when you're evaluating because you look for greatness, right? So you're looking for, that guy's a great shooter. That guy's a great setup guy. That guy's a great rebounder, whatever. So if you're looking at a 7th, 8th, 9th guy off the bench who's averaging 7, 8 rebounds, DK, that's easy to point to that guy and say, he could be a starter at Washington State. He could be a starter up at Cal, whatever. But those guys we're talking about are just really good at everything. I mean, KJ is a menace defensively. He's always in the right spot for really, really solid ball awareness to go get the loose ball rebounds. And as far as on-ball defense, I mean, I just expect him to lock down whoever he's on. So whatever he's going to bring to the table, and Jaden Bradley, like Kelvin said, just super smooth and confident, especially people might look at his hesitancy to look for shots from within the offense because that's just an easy thing to point to, like I said, those stats. But as far as everything else he does on the court, ball handling, tough with the ball, Kelvin. I mean, talk about those long arms. He's really solid protecting the ball from quicker guards trying to reach in there. And I haven't seen him make any mistakes as far as silly passes or that kind of thing. He's just a really solid all-around player. So both those guys, I would have both those guys start on my team. If I'm looking for athleticism and defensive tenacity, I want Jaden Bradley and KJ Lewis. And Krivas just speaks for himself. He's just ready to go from day one.
And I'll say this, you can't win championships, whether it's football or basketball, without having that type of depth. You have to, for one, because injuries are going to happen at some point. Foul trouble is going to happen. And then secondly, you cannot be a great team if you don't have great practices. If you don't have a guy that's going against you at practice every day that can actually take your position, that is trying to steal minutes from you, you're not going to be a great team. So I just believe right there, I remember when they first gave Lloyd the job, and I was like, man, he's never been a head coach before. And thinking of Arizona, you're thinking, Arizona could go get, whoever they want with this name and with this brand. And again, man, just like with Fish, I have to say, great hire because the recruits that he's getting and better every year, and to be able to attract these type of guys that are willing to come off the bench is amazing. I'm just telling you, DK, no. I mean, you look around the country, these guys could start. I mean, I look at this Pac-10, and I'm going to go look even a little more in depth, but I can't think. USC, I don't think we can start there. UCLA, maybe not. But after that, I can't think of any Oregon guys that I would take over those guys, Washington State guys. Definitely not anybody at the base school. So there we go.
Yeah, and you're talking about, we just heard from Mr. Umar Ballo, right? He's talking about the depth. Look no further than Umar Ballo's progression as a basketball player, because guess what? he sat on the bench for a year, but was able to practice with Christian freaking Coloco in practice. You don't think that he got better at finishing in the lane when he had to go up against Coloco every single day in practice? That's how. What do you always say, Kelvin?
What did they say? The earn sharpen earn.
That's right. So I mean, the more better players you got in practice. And it's that summer trip that they took, a couple exhibition games. They were just ready. I mean, coach used the term live bullets. It's like you got to go up against other competition because those practices have been so intense that rotation's not set yet. And when you've got quality players up to 9, 10 deep, maybe even 11 on this year's team, you know that those guys are making each other better every day behind the scenes that we're not seeing.
And one more thing, Ballo, for him to say that, a guy that was one of those 6, 7 starters in his time, for him to acknowledge that after the 5th game, that means that those summer practices and that European trip was real, and he has real respect for these guys because you don't find senior guys that have been around the program. They're not saying that stuff just to say it because they need some points of being a great team leader or whatnot. No, he's saying it because he truly believes that of these guys, and I think of what we saw with our own eyes up to this point, we agree. I know I do.
All right, before we go to break, let's hear what the head coach thought of Oumar Ballo's statements that there are 8 starters on this team.
For sure, I am comfortable with any of them. You know, like a guy like KJ, I mean, he just really impacts the game. Like you know, it's even like loose balls. Like KJ's, it's 75-25. He getting them. Like I always joke in practice, like who's going to get a loose ball besides KJ? Because he gets all of them, and he does it in games. And then those are run starters. Those start runs and create easy transition offensive opportunities. So I'm really happy with him. JB, I thought played, you know, obviously his best statistical game today. He's been rock solid for the most part, but I want him to kind of find his way in his program. And for a guy to become authentically good, which he will be and he is, you can't like script it. It's got to kind of come, you know, within the system, within the flow of the game.
And it was something you brought up earlier that kind of, you know, that I think resonates, Kelvin, is I think we maybe expect because Bradley came in here as a transfer that he was going to make an immediate impact. But you mentioned he's only a sophomore. Mm-hmm. It's only his 2nd year. I mean, he came in with these other guys, but these other guys have track records in Keyshawn Johnson and Caleb Love. You know, this is a guy that needs to find his way. He's still a young pup out there for the most part, kind of like Kylan Boswell.
Yes, and with that being said, imagine the type of character you have to come to a school with Kylan Boswell already there, understanding that more than likely you're not going to be a starter, even though he started a couple games, hasn't he? Mm-hmm. Bradley, I think, for sure. Yeah. And so it's just amazing to me that you were able to get a guy like that because there's a lot of schools that he could have maybe a tier down, maybe not Wildcat level, but a tier down. He could have went in as a starter at Memphis. And some of these other schools that are out there that was looking for guys like him that need a point guard. And he came to Arizona accepting that challenge. Right there, that tells you a lot about the character of him and his family because most people, a lot of times I tell guys, hey, I don't know if that would be a good place to go. I don't know how much playing time you'll be able to get behind a guy like Boswell. You may need to look somewhere else. And for a kid to take that challenge regardless of saying, you know what, I understand he's there. I understand they're bringing Love. I understand they're bringing KJ Lewis. They have Larson. But I'm going to go there and find me some minutes. And with that being said, to know that you're not going to be the scoring threat. You're not going to be that guy. So to me, I don't feel like he has to prove that. With this team, he has to be rock solid, like he said before. And there's going to be opportunities where the other teams are sagging, and he has to be a little aggressive offensively. But I think on this team, is that really going to be his role? Usually when he comes in as that point guard, it's to pass Boswell and Love the ball, not necessarily look for his. But it just depends on how the defense is playing. But I think he has the temperament for the job.
Also, listeners, you got to remember, Jaden Bradley played at IMG. I mean, he played at one of the biggest high schools in America. He was a McDonald's All-American. He was voted as one of the 24 best players in the country coming out of high school as a senior. What happened last year, he actually did start the first 12 games for Alabama. Javon Quinterly, former Arizona Wildcat recruit, fifth-year senior, came in and kind of took a lot of those minutes away halfway through the season. They felt that he was a better fit for that style with Brandon, with what's the name of that guy? I can't think of his name, but their number 2 overall pick,
Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller last year from Alabama. So it's not as if Jaden Bradley doesn't come in with a reputation of being a baller. I mean, the guy's a McDonald's All-American. So, I mean, just be patient. Don't look at the scoring numbers or whatever and think, oh, this guy's not. He's just trying to feel his way. And there's a lot of scorers on this team. So I'm not looking at scoring numbers for Jaden Bradley at all to relatively affect his impact on the game.
All right, let's get out of this segment here and into the next hour. Still lots to come. We'll have our pests of the game. We'll lay the lines down on this one and hear from the Hall of Fame head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, Tom Izzo, and our view from courtside. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off show with Kelvin Efon and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management pregame show is brought to you by Blue Whale Car Wash, Caruso's Italian Restaurant, Cool Willie's Air and Plumbing, The Diamond Store, Goldberg and Osborne, Goodfellas AC, Humane Society of Southern Arizona, Lexus of Tucson, Nova Home Loans, Recon Auto Detail, Ride Now Power Sports Tucson, Tucson Police Department. KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We bring you the best coverage in Tucson of Jed Fish and the Arizona Wildcats football all year long. When you hear the Cats on the radio, you're listening to 1290. We are Wildcats Radio 1290.
Desperate buyers have created tremendous opportunity for sellers. If you've had the slightest thought of selling your home, it's time to call Sean Poston with the Poston Results Team at Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. Why choose the Poston Results Team? Past performance, more money in your pocket, over a 65% referral rate, an incredible Poston Results Team staff, and most important, communication, because you and your home matter. The Poston Results Team. When buying and selling really mattered, go to TucsonHomeValues.com. That's TucsonHomeValues with an S.com.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
When it comes to healthcare, imaging makes all the difference. Don't stand in line or wait for weeks to get that much-needed MRI or X-ray. At Southern Arizona Radiology Associates, we offer multiple exams like MRI, CT, mammograms, and biopsies, serving Sierra Vista and the surrounding communities for over 30 years. With locations in Sierra Vista, Green Valley, and Tucson. Call 520-335-6849. Southern Arizona Radiology Associates, superior imaging, superior care.
Hi, this is Tim Couch, retired NFL quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, partner at Meridian Wealth Management, and proud member of Meridian's Tucson Advisory Business Council. It's my favorite time of year, college football season. I've always been a proud Wildcat. As our firm has grown in Tucson with Ruben and Natalie Fernandez, I now cheer on 2 Wildcats every year. My alma mater of Kentucky, of course, and our U of A Cats. Here's to a great football season, and go Cats.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Do you often worry you left the garage door open? With a LiftMaster garage door opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out.
Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates is your authorized local LiftMaster dealer. Visit KaiserDoor.com for more information.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
Coach Tommy Lloyd here. Did you spend money on your AC this summer? My friends at Rightway will give you back up to $3,000 for those repairs.
That's right. No matter who did the repair, we'll buy it back for up to $3,000 towards the purchase of a new heating and air system.
No repair bills this year? No worries. We will give you up to $2,000 trade-in plus 0% interest up to 60 months. Manufacturer rebates plus 10-year parts and labor warranty on a new heating and air system.
Have an aging heating and air system? Out of warranty? We'll inspect it absolutely free. Call Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing today.
Get the backyard you've always wanted with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you're ready to dive in, then visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. Schedule now and get 3 months of full service free. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. First Choice Pools, the first and only choice.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown and Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Welcome back to hour number 3 of the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show. David Kelly, Calvin Efon, J.W. Madden getting you set for Arizona taking on Michigan State. Final hour of the program. Let's tell you what we've got straight ahead coming up for you in this final 57 minutes with you today.
Let's take a look at the Right Way Rundown and see what's coming up on our pregame show. Brought to you by Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Do things the right way.
All right, in this segment, we will get into our pest of the game. Also, what the lines are looking like for this one. We'll hear later on in our view from courtside from Tom Izzo, the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, and give you our keys to the game, plus the starting lineups coming up a little bit later. Arizona and Michigan State, the 8th all-time meeting between these two schools. The Wildcats lead the series 5-2. They won the most recent matchup in the preseason of 2016 over in Honolulu, a 65-63 victory over the Michigan State Spartans. Wildcats knocked off Michigan State in the 2001 Final Four in Minneapolis, 80-61. Any memories of that night, J-Dub?
I remember Arizona being really, really good. That's what I remember. I think that's the team a lot of people, everybody remembers the finals, right? But, yeah, they were just rolling. They put that together towards the end of the year. A lot of talent on that year's team, but they struggled a bit in the middle, Kelvin. Similar to a lot of successful March teams for Arizona. You got to go through those struggles. But that game, as you could tell by that final score, anytime you win a Final Four game by double digits, that you got it rolling.
Matt Ishbia was on that team. Matt Ishbia played 1 minute in that game, took one shot for the Michigan State Spartans. The Wildcats were led that night by Jason Gardner, who scored 21 points, knocked down 3 trays. Richard Jefferson also hit 3 trays in that game to finish with 17 points. All 5 starters scored in double figures that night. Lauren Woods with 11. Gilbert Arenas had 12 points. Michael Wright scored 13 for the Arizona Wildcats in that game. Big Eugene Ederson off the bench played 17 minutes and scored 16 points. Luke Walton also played 16 minutes.
Think about the
game.
Names you just said. Come on, man. As far as Jason Gardner, about as solid a point guard as ever played there. Gil, just about as explosive a 2 guard you've ever seen. RJ, Luke, swings, 3-4, depending on where you want to play those guys. Lauren Woods, maybe best shot blocker. I think Anthony Cook is my pick because I'm an old head back in the day in the 80s. They didn't even keep block stats back in those times. But, Lauren Woods, I think, holds all school records. So just a complete roster, top to bottom.
Jason Richardson, one of the main players on that Michigan State team that year. Doesn't appear they had quite as many NBA guys as the Wildcats, but they did have Zach Randolph. Randolph was also, he came off the bench in that ball game and scored 12 points in 24 minutes.
Yeah, those teams, Izzo teams usually are hard-nosed, physical guys that you never really are NBA type guys, but physical, real good college players.
Yeah, I think of Michigan State and Connecticut kind of that same fold where you're talking about guys who are juniors and seniors doing the damage for those teams because they might not have come out. This year, guys, Izzo got the highest recruit he's ever gotten. They don't generally, I don't know what they go after, but the guys they sign are usually not in that top 20 nationally ranked, window. You're talking about guys who are Izzo guys. He recruits guys who are strong, tough on ball defense, strong rebounders for every single position. And it's not necessarily that flashy, going to give you 25, 30 a night type dude that they're getting in there. I mean, Draymond, right? That's the kind of guy I think of when I think of an Izzo recruit, just guys who know how to play the game of basketball. And so maybe not the big names you might see at Kentucky, Duke, Kansas, some of the other big schools, but always a tough out.
Michigan State comes in at 3-2 on this ball game. The Wildcats are 5-0. We've been mentioning Kylan Boswell and his play, and then you'll hear a little bit later coming up from Tommy Lloyd as well on Kylan. But the numbers again continue to be pretty astounding. 65% from the floor, 68% from three, and 100% from the line. His 3-point percentage right now at 68% is second in the nation. 15 of 22 from behind the arc so far this season for Kylan Boswell, and it has also already garnered him one Pac-12 Player of the Week so far this season. Who's that guy for the Michigan State Spartans that might get underneath our skin today?
Who is today's Pest of the Game? The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Check them out at BePestFree.com.
All right, Michigan State, we mentioned coming in here 3-2. They have a win in their last game over the Alcorn State Braves in the first portion of this Acrisure Classic, as they are calling it. Kelvin, who is going to be your pest? Who's that guy that's going to get underneath the Wildcats' skin today?
I'm going to go with today Tyson Walker.
Tyson Walker.
Yeah, Tyson Walker, a guy that can shoot the ball, that can get hot from the perimeter. Last thing we need is a guy knocking down shots on the perimeter or making it a little soft inside for those guys to be able to score. So, yeah, really want to stop him. He's a guy that gets up some shots. So you want to slow him down a little bit.
Tyson Walker, who did not play in the Spartans' last game, he was a little bit ill, so apparently good to go though for today's ball game.
I'm sure.
Yeah. You don't want to miss that. You'll sit out Alcorn State, but you don't want to sit out a game against Arizona. How about you, J-Dub? Who's going to be that guy for you today?
Same. I think Tyson Walker is the guy you have to worry about because. As we heard there from the Spartans insider during that interview, last year he was really relegated to much more of an outside shooter, 43%, he said last year from the three. But I've been watching some highlights, and that guy reminds me, Kelvin, a lot of Khalid. They went to the same high school, but that style of getting in the lane, he bodies guys off the dribble and moves them out of the way. 23 years old. He's a fifth-year senior. So a second senior year this year, the COVID year. He's a guy just all over the court. I've seen him twice go up straight, Kelvin, with two hands and do a Pella-style block on guys. I mean, he's got some crazy – you don't think that a guy who's 6 foot tall is going to have that kind of – well, you think guys have bounce, but he's got that extra level, Kelvin, and the strength to go with it, man strength, 23 years old. So I think they're going to have pests all over the court. Just to be clear, David Kelly, I mean, that's what Izzo does, is just brings a super intense level of defense. But Tyson Walker's a guy I point to. You have to make sure that he does not go off because if he does, it's just going to open up the court for a lot of guys who are struggling shooting the ball right now for Michigan State. He's the guy you got to worry about more than anybody.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna go in a different direction then. I'm gonna go with the young center for this Michigan State team that has just started one game so far in his career, but also out of IMG Academy. Possibly he's a sophomore, so he may have been a teammate of Jaden Bradley down there, and that's the 6'11" big man, Carson Cooper. And 8 blocks so far on the season. They're going to need some inside presence to deal with the bigs for the Arizona Wildcats today, and that's going to be charged for him. I mean, he's a young guy, and so it's going to be a pretty tough charge and blueprint for him to try to get it done with the likes of Umar Balo and Mateus Krivas. But if he is up for the challenge today, he could definitely be a guy and maybe the first guy to really try to stifle the inside game for the Arizona Wildcats. So I'm going with Carson Cooper, 6'11", 240-pound sophomore out of Jackson, Michigan, by way of IMG Academy.
That's today's Pest of the Game. The Pest of the Game is brought to you by University Termite and Pest Control. Visit BePestFree.com.
The other guy, real quick to mention, I don't know if it's Javier or Xavier.
It is Xavier.
Booker, Kelvin. He is the highest rated recruit that Tom Izzo has ever brought into Michigan State as a head coach. And again, we just talked about that, how they don't necessarily go after those top 10 surefire one-and-done guys. He's definitely the kind of coach, and I totally respect, who'd rather have a kid on campus for a few years and really teach that Izzo style of ball. But yeah, he is a guy at a 6'10 center who definitely is going to be a big focal point because of what Arizona brings, and Arizona's got size all over the court, but he would be a secondary guy to watch out for, the freshman, because he's maybe hasn't shown quite as much so far in the early season what he's capable of, but he's definitely got a ton of talent.
Xavier Booker, for sure, another guy to keep an eye on. All right, what is the lines looking like for this game today between Arizona and Michigan State?
Tucson, what are some of today's best bets? Will the Cats beat the spread? It's time to look at some of today's best bets. Brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right. J-Dub is 8-2, I believe. Is that, yes, 8-2. You split last game, and I got both, so I'm 6-4 now. And Kelvin split, so he's 1-1. Since coming back. So the line on this one is U of A minus 5.5. I like it. I like that number. Until I see somebody that can stay with the Wildcats, I think I might like pretty much any number. What was the number against Duke? It was
4.
4, yeah. It was
something like that. 2.
Yeah.
I said they'd win by 4, so I think it was like 2.5, something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think I'm gonna lay that 5.5. I think it's gonna be another smooth day for the Arizona Wildcats.
Calvin?
I'm not smooth it's going to be, but I agree with you. I'm not smooth, but I definitely agree. I agree with you. I think Arizona could cover that.
Yeah, and over under on this one is 148, which is a little bit lower than we have seen. And you mentioned, obviously, that Michigan State kind of comes in as a defensive team. The question is going to be can they hold down this Wildcats offense? I see that getting blown by. I think 148 is real low today.
Yeah, well, number one, I think Arizona covers the 5. And number 2, I'll tell you what's going to happen tonight is going to be ugly because that's a proud team coming in with 2 losses in 5 games. They just haven't shot the ball well. But whatever they do, Michigan State's going to leave all the effort and energy on the court tonight, Kelvin. So in terms of that kind of matchup, I'm not so sure that the neutral site will bring that energy that will lead to maybe some unforced kind of errors from both teams playing so gritty defense. But I could see a really low. I know that's why Vegas is setting that number so low. Because I'll tell you another thing. These 2 teams are going to try and run. Like both these teams are opportunistic running teams that both the head coaches want to push tempo when you have an opportunity. But the defensive tenacity, what'd you say, 146?
148.
148. I will say over, but not by much. I don't think it's going to go too far over that number. But yeah, more than 148.
I think it could blow by that number. I could see this being a game in the 80s for both teams, I think.
And I'm thinking about 150.
150.
151.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah, over for me as well.
All right. Defensive. You guys are saying defensive basketball today.
I just think Michigan State's been shooting so terribly. They started the season, Kelvin, 2 for 31 from deep in their first 2 games. They went 1 for 20 in that first loss. The first opening game, they lost by 3 points. They shot 1 for 20 from 3. So how do you make up for that if you're not shooting from the outside? There's no such thing as extra than 100% effort, but there really is. I mean, there really is that extra level of intensity and effort. And a team that's already known for that, Arizona's going to match that intensity. I don't know what that's going to look like shooting numbers-wise, but I will tell you this. Coming into this game, opponents for Michigan State, 33% from the field on the year. Opponents for Michigan State shooting just 33% on the year. We know what Arizona's defense is, so despite the fact that they'll both be running, I just think It's just going to be such an intense game. This is going to be a March Madness level intensity game. Are you kidding me? On Thanksgiving Day, the whole world's watching. It's the only game on right now, or at the time. It's just going to be a high intensity game. I would imagine both teams shoot in the 40s, low 40s would be my expectation, because two really good defensive teams.
They've leveled out. I mean, obviously, you mentioned they got off to that horrible start through the first two games shooting from three. They've kind of, I think, leveled out to about 35%. So still not a great shooting, three-point shooting club as Michigan State, but they've kind of gotten back to normal.
Yeah.
In the last three games.
It's tough, those first couple of games. 2 for 31 to start the season. That's a hole to dig yourself.
All right, everybody is laying the 5.5, and everybody's taking the over.
Those are today's best bets. They are brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
We'll hear from Tom Izzo next. It's the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on Wildcats Radio 1290.
This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management Pregame Show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rocking KA Master Plan Community Design by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. For some of you, the cooler overnight temperatures will be just enough to trigger your tire's low-pressure warning light. In most cases, you can solve the problem simply by adding the correct amount of air to your tires. This month, mention this ad, and with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor, we'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tire absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get you road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. We're here to get you there.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K. Nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills, enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Explore natural open space, a network of connecting trails, and a community park within the Vale School District. Visit Lennar's 2 communities in Rock & K with home savings up to $35,000 and limited time interest rate and closing cost incentives on select move-in ready homes. LiveRockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Cantina nachos, strawberry watermelon margaritas, a few zombie kills, and all your favorite sports teams live? When your day calls for some winning, it's time for Dave & Buster's, where you can eat, drink, play, and watch all the sports you want. They've got massive HD TVs, hundreds of the hottest new games, a chef-crafted menu, and an incredible list of beers, wines, and cocktails. So remember, if your day calls for a little victory, a little triumph, a little win, it's probably calling for Dave & Buster's.
Hi, it's Floyd, the family man with the family plan. Outdated HVAC systems will drive up your electric bill, drain your wallet, and peace of mind. Save now at Goodfellas with no payments or interest till 2024. Get a 30% federal tax credit, up to $2,000 off qualifying heat pumps. Trust Goodfellas. We're locally owned with thousands of 5-star reviews. Good service, good prices, Goodfellas. Visit us at goodfellasac.com to schedule a no-cost estimate.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
For over 30 years, Tucson has been putting its trust in First Chiropractic for auto and on-the-job injuries. They're locally owned and a proud sponsor of the U of A radio broadcasts. So if you've been injured, make the right choice first.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Some things are over too quick, like an ice cream cone. Or truck season at O'Reilly Chevrolet. Our inventory of Chevy Silverados, the #1 selling full-size pickup in Arizona, has never been better. Come pick up your pickup today. Check them out at O'Reilly.com, call 747-8000, or test drive one today on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Find new roads during the final days of truck season at O'Reilly Chevrolet. More than a great price.
True Wildcat fans know that when you're looking for the best place to watch all the big games on big screens, drinking cold beer and having the best food, all paths lead to Desert Diamond. Bet on your Wildcats and all your favorite teams 24/7 on our easy-to-use kiosks. Come chill on our comfy couches and build your best bet at Arizona's best bet, the Desert Diamond Sportsbook and Bar.
An enterprise of the Thana Autumn Nation.
Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Desert Diamond Casino is licensed in Arizona.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair.
I'm Ron Arenas, the owner of Picture Rocks Cooling, Heating, and Plumbing. As we reflect on the Thanksgiving season, we are grateful to have been serving the Tucson area for over 22 years. Your business and consideration are much appreciated. When you need us, please call at 520-440-4069 for all your cooling, heating, and plumbing needs.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hauser, left side, Walker open for three. You bet! Now all the way the other way is Smith going up against Walker, and he's swatted.
Get another look at this. Just straight up and then comes down all ball.
Here's Walker. He had 12 in that game. Driving on Cone, little shoulder, too strong.
Can't get into the paint. Pull up Walker. Yes. That move.
Tyson Walker, he's pretty good. He missed the last game, we told you, against Alcorn State with an illness, but 23 points on the season per game, shooting at a clip of 54%, and is currently right now number 1 in the Big Ten in scoring, number 7 in the country in scoring.
Yeah, he started his freshman, sophomore year at Northeastern, 10 as a freshman, 18.8 as a sophomore, transferred over to Michigan State, started off a little slow, 8.2, 14.8 last year in his first senior year. This year, he's shooting 45% from the field, 2.5 assists as well. Here's my notes, Kelvin. Strong, typical New York City point guard, really tight handles, good bounce, smooth release on his J, really likes the mid-range game, and he's got really good height on his jumper. So when he gets in the lane, he really does maximize his height. Not too big stature-wise, maybe 6 foot, 6'1", but as far as the bounce he gets in the release on his J, most impressively, though, he plays his own pace. Khalid style, where he's kind of slow, doesn't look like he's moving very fast, but this quick burst of speed gets him past the first line of defense. Once he gets there, he's got a lot of mid-range game, he's got the whole package, floater package and everything else, and really can get to the rim and finish, and a really good vision, obviously, because if you look at the assist numbers, as a freshman, 3.4, sophomore, 4.8, 4.3, 2.9, 2.3. He's been passing the ball around his whole career. Just really impressed with his game. And my biggest takeaway, Kelvin, is whatever he's listed at weight-wise, it's lying, because that dude is strong. He gets in there, and he's moving guys around off the dribble, and that's pretty rare for a guy that's 6 foot, listed at like 195 or whatever. Like, he's a strong dude in there when he gets in the paint.
Yes, he is, and I'm excited to see who's going to get that defensive matchup from the start. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Boswell. Wouldn't be surprised if I also see a little bit of KJ Lewis on him, and my guy Jaden Bradley. I just think that excuse me. I just think that that kid is an awesome offensive player, and this is going to be a great test for our guards to find out who's going to be that shutdown guy. I mean, we've seen a little bit from all those guys, and we know what Boswell can do, but this is going to have a lot to do with who wins this game, that matchup, who can slow him down.
Tyson Walker, he'll be one to watch. Your guys' pest today. We'll see what he can do against this number 3 ranked Arizona Wildcats team. All right, let's hear from a Hall of Fame head coach.
It's time now to take you down the front row of the arena. A view from courtside is brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Tom Izzo is the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans. I mean, this is a guy that has done some pretty impressive stuff in his career. Let me just kind of read you just a few of the things that Coach Izzo has done. He is a Naismith Hall of Famer. That is one thing, obviously. He is, I mentioned early on, he is 16th all-time in wins. This is his 29th season. He was 29th season, took over for Judd Heathcote, who we mentioned earlier. He was the head coach prior to Izzo getting there, and he spent 19 seasons. So they've had 2 coaches in the last 48 seasons, dating back to 1976 at Michigan State. That's pretty impressive. And obviously, Judd Heathcote was the guy that Magic Johnson played for at Michigan State. The Spartans have gone to 25 straight NCAA tournaments. That is a Big Ten record. It's the second longest active streak in Division I, tied for the third longest in NCAA history. I believe the Wildcats went to 25 before theirs was broken.
It depends who you ask, because there was some eligibility, and NCAA took away some wins from one of those seasons. But yeah, it was a really, really, really long streak. 26, I think, is what it ended at. That was right when Lou was having some health issues, and that's when that streak came to an end. The biggest takeaway from Coach Izzo, and look no further than this, 8 Final Fours, Calvin. 8 Final Fours that they've been to. 8 Final Fours. I mean, that's Coach K and Tom Izzo are in the category of their own. I mean, there aren't coaches who are going to that level of number of Final Fours, and just taking your team that deep just means that you got them playing their best ball at the end of the year, which is always the goal.
21 NBA draft picks, including 11 first-rounders for Tom Izzo, the longtime head coach at the Michigan State University in East Lansing, and he talked this week about the Arizona Wildcats and this matchup.
2 post guys.
Yeah, they really will. They'll be as Ballo has just turned himself into a heck of a player. You know, he was a project, couldn't even get on the floor at Gonzaga, and then he just, got better and better and better, and got in better shape. And I think he's a 5th-year guy now, and sometimes that's the way it works. And he's turned himself into a good player. The Johnson kid that transferred as a 5th-year player too, I believe, from San Diego State, played in the Final Four. And the other big kid's only a freshman. I don't know how old he is because he's a European kid, but very skilled at 7'2", 3, and 260 there too. So there's a lot of bodies in there.
Do West Coast teams have a different DNA? I mean, basketball players are basketball players.
Yeah,
but
I think some do. I think it depends on the coach a little bit. Like UCLA is usually more laid back, but they got a coach, and that gets after it morning, noon, and night, and then some. What's unique about Arizona is they got a couple Midwest kids, they got a couple European kids, which means they got a lot of older kids, and I think they're pretty tough and physical. I know their guards are very much that way, and so it'll be a good challenge for us. I think as we go, the biggest issue will be staying out of foul trouble inside, and that'll be one of our concerns.
You said Arizona's the best team you've faced. You like these challenges on the road, far from home, especially for what's coming down the road, right?
I do. I'm just trying to figure out, there's so many new intangibles with scheduling, those Big Ten games I told you about the other night, freshmen not playing. There's just different things that when this year is over, that I'm going to really sit down with KP and figure out, what we need to do to make sure we're giving ourselves the best chance to be successful. But I love games like this. I think it's a great opportunity. It's, some teams can go 5 years without playing top 5 teams, and we seem to do it on a more regular basis. But a lot of teams don't play 2 or 3 in the whole, or don't play 2 or 3 years worth of top 5 teams once. So as I tell my guys, it's a privilege and an honor, but there's a responsibility that goes with that. And that's what we got to get a little better at right now.
Tom, you've had some of these sort of measuring stick, type of games already with Tennessee and Duke, and now a third one in this one. Is there anything different you're hoping to learn or looking at in this one with it being a third type of game like that?
Yeah, I think I'm looking to win one. Looking to win one, but I'm looking to see us play better in all areas. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you guys would believe me, but as I watch film all night long of some of those games, I think if we could have made 2 shots here and there, we would just be a lot better team. Well, everybody can say that, but never have we shot like we shot in those couple of games. And so you put that together with playing good teams. I should feel better where I'm at. I just don't like some of the things that some of our veterans are doing right now as far as taking plays off and maybe not showing anybody immediately what's going on, but winning plays, winning plays are usually not a jump shot or a great pass. Winning plays is being in the right position at the right time, cutting out, getting the right rebound, all those things. And I think that's where we got a couple guys taking a few plays off, and so that was addressed today in a film session, and it'll be addressed tomorrow, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to get harder before it gets easier.
We hope you enjoyed your view from courtside. It was brought to you by Kaiser Garage Door and Gates. Kaiser, celebrating 25 years serving Southern Arizona.
Tom Izzo, the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, who is not sure how old Mo Krivas is, which got me thinking, I don't know how old Mo Krivas is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a shot just at the general. There are a lot of guys come over at Kelvin, and they might, they might say that they're 18, and they got that 28-year-old stubble on their face, and maybe that they're a little bit older. But yeah, I mean, I think Mo just plays like he's an older player, so I think that's what Coach Izzo's talking about there, because he definitely doesn't play like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, and one thing I was listening to him, and one thing that's unique about Arizona teams, especially I think once Miller started getting here, how many guys do we actually have from the West Coast? He started naming out, some Midwesterners, and we know we got some East Coast guys, but how many guys do we actually have from the West Coast?
Not many.
Caleb is from St. Louis.
He's from
Caleb is
Detroit.
St.
St. Louis.
He's from St. Louis.
Right.
Caleb is from St. Louis.
That's the gateway to the West, right? So
yeah, I think they still consider themselves Midwest.
But we don't have our LA guys anymore.
Yeah, I don't think Texas is
Cali.
considered
Oh,
Midwest.
okay, we got Cali.
And then Kylan's from Champaign, Illinois.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Miller obviously recruited a ton of East Coast guys and a ton of the Great Lakes area. That's the bulk of a lot of the guys he brought in. Speaking of Coach Miller, I like what Izzo said there about, they shot 1 for 20 from the 3-point line in that first loss to Farley Dickinson, right? People talked about Coach Miller when he was here as being the, quote, best coach to not make a Final Four, whatever. If Jamel Horn makes that shot, Kelvin, is he a better coach? Right? Like a couple of good looks in the Elite Eight to make it to the Final Four. The shot didn't go down. I don't see that loss to Farley Dickinson as being coaching issues or playing issues or any of those things. They had a lot of open looks, and some nights that shot doesn't fall. I'm not making excuses. They lost that game because they didn't make winning plays when they needed to down the stretch. But if you're looking at for effort and energy and all those coaching things, Kelvin, you could talk on this, obviously. Whatever that game plan is going in, if your players execute that and you just don't knock down open shots and end up coming away with the loss, it's not necessarily like scouring the film for all the changes you need to make. Just make the shots next time.
Yeah, no, you just get back in the gym and work on some shooting, making sure guys are taking shots at their right spots. And if they're doing all that and you have an off night, you chalk it up. You just make sure that defensive intensity is there and the execution is there.
Yeah, the biggest thing is that if you go 0 for 5, 0 for 6, don't come back down the other side and have your head down, slumping your shoulders and be worried about what's happening on the offensive side. Lock down on defense and do what you need to do on that end of the court. Don't let that affect the rest of your play. That's the biggest problem. You're talking about 18, 19-year-old kids here, guys. So as far as your emotionals and you're just staying focused in the moment, if a shot doesn't fall, if another shot doesn't fall, another one, that's fine. Keep shooting. If you got the green light from the coaching staff, keep shooting. But definitely don't let that affect any kind of mentality on the other side or diving for loose balls or whatever. Just stay engaged.
And I'll just say this last thing. Try to get an easier shot, too. Try to get a little closer. Try to get a layup. Try to get a back door. Try to get something to get yourself going. Try to get to the free throw line. So don't just keep going. Because some kids, they'll keep going to the same spot. Like, I know I can make it from here. I'm like, no, we all know you can make it from there, okay? But you can make it in several other spots as well. Let's try those.
Well, so much technique. Everything's technique. Everything's repeatable form. However, there's touch, man. Touch has a lot to do with it. So if you're just not feeling it, Kelvin always says this for as long as I've known him, always try to see the ball go through the basket. So it doesn't matter, layup, mid-range, go to the free throw line. If you see that ball through the basket, you get that feel, that touch for the game. You're starting to feel yourself. Then those three balls start to go down a little bit easier, Kelvin.
All right, for the record, Mateus Krivas is 18 years old. In fact, his birthday is coming up on next Friday. December the 1st will be his birthday, his 19th birthday. So
I don't know. We play club, and just say European and the African kids, we just never know about them birth certificates. But I trust
according to U20, according to FIBA U20 or European Championships website, Mateus Krivas
they own it.
Is 18 years old. All right, final segment is coming up. If you want to get in, this is your final chance. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290. What are your feelings on this game coming up today? Arizona, number 3 in the country, against number 21, Michigan State. It is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show with Kelvin Ifan and J.W. Madden. I'm David Kelly. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
This is the Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show on the home of Arizona men's basketball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
As Arizona's leading personal injury law firm for more than 30 years, Goldberg & Osborne agrees, bear down, Arizona. With offices statewide, including 5 in Tucson and Southern Arizona, the Eagle gives you home field advantage. More than 1,800 5-star Google reviews prove Goldberg & Osborne has the playbook for any situation. So after any accident, let the attorneys voted best personal injury law firm tackle that insurance company and get you the settlement you deserve. Goldberg & Osborne, 1-800-THE-EAGLE.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
Does it feel like the price of everything is going up, up, up? We can't control the price of gas or groceries, but at Royal Buick GMC, we never add market adjustments, even while other dealers add fees because inventory is limited. At Royal Buick GMC, you can rest assured you won't pay market adjustments, and we stand by our transparent online pricing. Royal Buick GMC, the dealership that's different. OAC plus tax, title, license, dealer-installed options, and $529 doc fee. Royal Buick GMC, in the Auto Mall and at RoyalTucson.com.
The Window Depot is proud to sponsor the first look at today's game and would like to invite Arizona Wildcat fans to visit one of their Tucson warehouses. The Window Depot provides over 1,000 in-stock vinyl windows, interior and exterior doors, plus granite and quartz countertops, and a huge selection of custom cabinetry, all at the lowest prices in town. Consider the Window Depot your MVP when it comes to your home improvement needs. Stores are open Monday through Saturday, or order online at thewindowdepot.com. The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Tired of dry, itchy skin? Have mineral buildup at every faucet. Ram Plumbing's affordable, green, eco-friendly water softener and alkalized purification systems are built right here in our great state of Arizona and use a fraction of the wastewater as their competitors. Want soft water, non-chlorinated, or the best alkalized drinking water? You can trust Ram Plumbing to be your one-stop shop. Ask about their Water Taste Challenge. 40th year anniversary savings, up to $500 off water systems and $40 off any service. If your plumbing's in trouble, call Ram on the double.
What up, Tucson? This is Joseph Blair, former Wildcat and assistant coach of the Washington Wizards. When I came to play basketball at the U of A in the 90s, the Tucson community became and has always remained a special part of my life. And this is why I proudly joined the Meridian Wealth Management Tucson Advisory Business Council. If you have financial questions or concerns, please be sure and call my friends Natalie or Ruben Fernandez at 719-1433 or visit online at Meridian Wealth LLC. And as always, bear down, Tucson.
Advisory services provided by Meridian Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor.
Frog and Firkin, a standout among the bars and restaurants in the University area. Frog and Firkin does what very few pubs can, combine a festive atmosphere and great beer with a menu that could stand on its own in any restaurant setting. A sports enthusiast dream with over 30 TVs, 30 beers on tap, and over 100 import and domestic bottles. Daily drink and food specials, and the kitchen is serving until 10. A standout in the University area. Frog and Firkin. Eat local, support local. frogandfirkin.com.
The Meridian Wealth Management Countdown to Tip-Off Show continues on the home of Arizona men's basketball, Wildcats Radio 1290.
2 o'clock tip-off time coming up today in Palm Springs at the Acrisure Arena. It is the Acrisure Classic. Arizona and Michigan State playing for the 8th time in school history. I mentioned the last time that these two teams played was 2016. That was actually a one-off game. It wasn't a tournament in Honolulu. It was a one-off game. It was the Armed Forces Classic, which the Wildcats won by a score of 65-63. You might remember that game. That was the Kadeem Allen late basket winner for the Arizona Wildcats. Took the ball the length of the floor and scored with 1.3 seconds to go in that contest. Kadeem Allen, obviously, who went on to play a few games in the National Basketball Association with, I think, primarily with the New York Knicks, but was also with the Boston Celtics for a period of time. I don't think he's in the NBA this year, however. We have to get together our numbers on other guys, some of those guys and where they are. That
Speaking of which, just last night I looked up what Parker was up to because he's Paige's favorite player.
PJC.
Yeah, Paige's favorite player is Parker Jackson Cartwright. He was the MVP last year of the Bundesliga in Germany. He's playing real well. I think he went over to New Zealand is his most recent stop. But, he's only 28. It's hard. Like, that feels like a different era, right? Because, I mean, it's just it just feels like that was such a long time. I don't know, maybe COVID kind of twisted my perception of years passing. But Parker feels like he was on campus such a long time ago. But good to see him doing so well.
Kobe Simmons had 18 points off the bench that night. 4 of 7 from the floor. Kobe's obviously carved out a nice little professional career in the G League. I believe he last year became the leading scorer for the North Carolina outfit down in the G League. Larry Markkinen had 13 points that night for Arizona, and Kadeem finished the game with 10. Mikal Bridges, the leading scorer for the Spartans that night, has played here in Arizona with the Phoenix Suns.
Love
he had
Mikal
21 points that night for the Michigan State Spartans.
Armed Forces Classic, that's not the one they used to play on the...
No, I thought it was. That's the one in San Diego.
Carriers?
Yeah, that's the one in San Diego. But this was not. This was just a game out there, but it was not played. I do not believe it was played on.
Yeah, 2012, the first one was Ramstein Air Base in Germany. Then they played at Camp Humphreys in Korea, Puerto Rico, also Japan, Hawaii, Germany, Texas, Alaska, California. So lots of military bases is where these are. I think that's the one where they have, like, obviously all the service members be able to be a part of the crowd. It's just that's a great event.
Which one was there outside?
That's like the aircraft carrier ones.
That's the one in San Diego.
They stopped that because of wind. I mean, there was the one year where the guys were shooting free throws and you were getting that gusty. That's fine if you're on the blacktop, Kelvin, but it's like you got 25-mile-an-hour winds in an actual regulation NCAA basketball game. That's a problem.
You got to play the wind on that one, okay? The basket is there. You got to shoot a little bit that way to get it.
They were having a problem with spray too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because like the spray from the ocean will get up in that. Water on the court, never a good thing.
Not a good idea. Not a good idea. All right. We've 5-0 to this point in the season for the Arizona Wildcats. How does Tommy Lloyd feel about where this team is?
Pretty much slice it game to game. So I feel like we're, right where we should be. And I know it's going to be a really hard game. I mean, it's going to present a lot of challenges. So, I'm excited for that. If we win, it'll be awesome. If we lose, we'll be all right. And I'm going to it's a long season, and whatever happens that game, we're going to try to obviously go play our best, and hopefully we do play well. But if we don't, we're going to learn from it. So I'm just excited for that opportunity.
Yeah, you can't let. I mean, again, we place a lot of emphasis on these games, and we want to see the Wildcats win. But just going back to that 2016 season when Michigan State and Arizona played, Michigan State opened that season with Arizona number 10 in the country, and then they went and played Kentucky number 2 in the country. They played 4 ranked games in their first 8 and lost all 4 of them, and still went to the NCAA.
They do not
tournament.
duck. That's
No,
the thing.
They don't.
We remember Lute, and we remember the way that Coach Olson scheduled. Mark Few up at Gonzaga, they had to, Kelvin, because, I mean, you're talking about a conference where you might get challenged twice, maybe 4 times the whole season long. You got to have non-conference games that really give you a challenge, and Coach Izzo is right up there at the top amongst coaches who've always had that scheduling philosophy. They're always trying to challenge their players early and often.
We mentioned early on about this team and this rotation. You've got 8 guys right now, and Umar Balo had said there could be any 8 of them could be starters. We have not seen as much of Filip Borovichinen, I think, in the last couple games. He seems to be losing some minutes as this whole thing goes along. And we kind of, we talked at the beginning. Was it going to be 10 guys? Was it going to be 11 guys? Well, it seems to kind of becoming a core 8 with maybe Paulius Morauskas being 8.5 to this point. But the head coach was asked how comfortable he is right now with the rotation as it's evolved here through these first 5 games.
I mean, listen, yeah, it'll vary. I mean, I'm comfortable. Listen, Conrad, kind of there as the 11th guy. I'm comfortable with all those guys in some form or fashion. I think where I'm most comfortable is we have live reps now. So, we finally get a little bit of a break. Our schedule's been a little kind of jagged a little bit, kind of clean up some of our stuff and maybe add some of our next layers to what we want to do. So I feel good now that we have real live bullets to teach from and for the players to learn from.
Yeah, last year there was a guy, Kelvin, who we really thought was going to get minutes, and his name is Adama Ball. And he got minutes in the first 10 games, and then he kind of got out of the rotation because guess what? They had Cedric Henderson Jr., Courtney Ramey, they had some guys, seniors, transfer in. And he, in his minutes that he did get in there, Kelvin, Adama Ball was maybe a little loose with the ball, didn't make quick, sound decisions with it. We all know he could shoot. He transferred out. He's doing his own thing now. That's what they're looking for from those bench guys. It's going to be situational. Borovichyn's going to get into games maybe that aren't quite as physical when you need some outside shooting. A lot of those guys can contribute. But the question, Kelvin, is when you get put in that game, are you a positive contributor to the lineup? And that's what the coaching staff, that's it. That's what the coaching staff's looking for.
Yeah, and I think even bigger is, are you able to play defense? Let's just get back to it. And I think what you're noticing is a lot of the guys that end up having trouble cracking the lineup and getting minutes, they're not really defensive-oriented guys. They're not really two-way guys. They're more guys that get themselves going offensively. And usually, if you're not a starter, that's probably the worst way to try to get yourself going. You have to make sure you show those efforts on that defensive side of the ball to get to afford yourself some of those offensive opportunities, chances to get shots. So I think a lot of that, if you look at some of those guys, if you look at the guys that are having trouble getting minutes, it's that defensive intensity. And a lot of times it's some of the guys are just better defensive. KJ Lewis, like let's just talk about this team. KJ Lewis and Bradley, and then even when you talk about the big fella underneath the basket coming off the bench, Big Mo, those guys are legitimate defenders, a rim protector, guys that can play on the perimeter and get up in you, and they also can bring a scoring punch. So I think the guys coming off the bench have to be well-rounded, really, to get some significant minutes.
All right, let's find out what the Wildcats need to do to win this game today.
Wildcats fans, our keys to the game are brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different.
All right, for me, it's pretty simple. You got to shut down Kelvin and J-Dub's pests, Tyson Walker. You cannot let him take over this game today. The top scorer in the Big Ten Conference and 7th in the nation. And I mentioned Carson Cooper was my pass. I think you got to get him in foul trouble. I want to see this team, again, establish down low, play downhill, especially for Caleb Love. I don't want to see Caleb doing what he did against UT Arlington and coming out and just flailing jumpers and all that kind of thing. Get back to what you did Friday night. Play downhill and take the ball to the basket to get this offense flowing in the right direction. And the other thing is what I say pretty much every game. play Arizona basketball. Pat, what did Ryan say? Share the sugar.
Yeah.
Share the sugar. 20 plus assists, and keep it going in that direction.
Kelvin?
I think first and foremost, Ballo, get the ball inside, get the inside game going. I just think that it energizes the bigs and just get them motivated to play defense and rebound. Pressure defense. Don't let MSU get going from the three. I think anytime you let teams get comfortable and pass the ball around and catch and shoot, they can become a problem. Push the ball, use your depth to wear these guys down. I don't think MSU really, Michigan State really trusts their depth too much. I'll put even more pressure. If I was coach, I'll put even more pressure on them by continuously push that ball and use that depth.
Yeah, number one, I just think you just generally have to match or exceed that intensity. Michigan State's going to bring it. They've got 2 losses out of 5 games. Proud program. We know what Izzo's style of basketball is. Strong defensive pressure, rebounding. And on that note, my second key is you got to dominate the boards. An undersized team relative to Arizona. They're only out rebounding teams by 1 on the season, 40-39. So Arizona coming in, one of the longest, best rebounding teams with depth in the country. I want to see 10 or more, at least. I want to see them win that rebounding total by 10. And number 3, just get good looks. The pressure defense, they're coming in holding opponents 33% on the field. We know what Tom Izzo-led defensive teams are like. That's going to be the strength of that team all year long. Don't settle. Don't settle for contested J's with time left on the shot clock. Get your feet in the paint, just that typical standard Coach Lloyd style of basketball. Get in the paint, draw defenders, look for the open man, and don't settle, and definitely do your best to get as many rim looks as possible, because that's going to be key for them putting that pressure on the Michigan State defense.
Wildcats fans, that's our keys to the game. Brought to you by the Royal Automotive Group. Royal Automotive, the dealership that is different. The foundation of a great college basketball team begins with the starting lineup. Today's starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature.
Starting lineups for the Wildcats today: at 1 guard, Kylan Boswell, 6'2", 200-pound sophomore out of Champaign, Illinois, averaging a team-high 14 points per ball game, 2-to-1 assist ratio with 20 assists on the season. Caleb Love at another guard, 6'4", senior out of St. Louis, Missouri. He, though, leads the team overall on assists this year with 24. Pelle Larsson, 6'5", senior out of Nacka, Sweden. How about 20 of 21 from the line this season for Pelle Larsson? The man in the middle, Umar Ballo, 7-foot redshirt senior out of Mali, 12 points, 6 rebounds in 18 minutes this season. Keyshawn Johnson at forward, 6'7", senior out of Oakland, California. 3 trays against UT Arlington. That's going to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Tip-Off Show, brought to you by Meridian Wealth Management. For Kelvin Efon, for JW Madden, I'm David Kelly. Enjoy the game today. Tip-off coming up at 2 o'clock. It is number 21, Michigan State, and number 3, Arizona. Bear down, everybody.
That is your starting lineup for today's game. The starting lineup is brought to you by Rockin' K, a master plan community designed by nature. This hour of the Meridian Wealth Management Pregame Show is brought to you by Broadway in Tucson, Dave & Buster's Tucson, Dorado Rock, First Choice Pools, The Good Feet Store, Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care, O'Reilly Chevrolet, Ram Plumbing, Restaurant Supply Store, Right Way Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, Rockin' KA Master Plan Community Designed by Nature, University Termite and Pest Control.
Are you ready to adopt? Come to the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. When you adopt from us, you will save more than one life. You'll also make room for the next pet in need. The Humane Society of Southern Arizona has been compassionately serving pets and the people who love them since 1944. Our knowledgeable adoption matchmakers will help you find the right pet for your home and support you after you adopt. We are open 7 days a week at our main campus at 635 West Roger Road. Learn more and see adoptable pets at hssaz.org.
Experiencing the natural wonders comes easy at Rock & K, nestled at the base of the Rincon Mountain foothills. Enjoy stunning mountain views up close every day. Hit the community trails, explore local parks like Saguaro National and Colossal Cave, and mingle at private Diamond Community Park events. In the top-rated Vail School District, Rock & K is close to work, shopping, and services. Tour 11 different model homes by top-tier builders, offering move-in-ready homes and special incentives. Live RockandK.com. Designed by Nature, proud U of A radio broadcast sponsor.
Driving the lane, dunking on the competition, and playing as a team. These are things we'll see this season watching our Wildcats play basketball. These happen to be the things you'll also find when you buy your next vehicle from O'Reilly Chevrolet. The only difference is at O'Reilly, nobody gets penalized for traveling. Heck, we actually encourage it. See us on Broadway next to Park Place Mall. Call 747-8000 or find new roads at O'Reilly.com, where you can experience our version of a steal. O'Reilly Chevrolet, more than a great price.
O'Reilly Chevrolet.
Here's an important message from University Termite and Pest Control. The weather is getting cooler here, and so rodents will be seeking alternative housing. Do you need a professional? Call University Termite and Pest Control, 886-4146. They've been serving Tucson since 1974. You can be assured University Termite and Pest Control will keep you pest-free using the most responsible products and application methods. 28 school districts, 3 hospitals, 2 colleges, 1 university, and thousands of homeowners trust University Termite and Pest Control. You can too. Call University Termite and Pest Control today at 886-4146 or go to bepestfree.com.
The final territorial cup of the Pac-12 era is here.
Borgata snap, back to throw. He gets hit. He fumbles the ball. Arizona has it. The Cats with the ball. They pick it up. They'll take over at midfield.
Dick Tomey used to say, some Wildcat's going to make a play. That's what he used to always say to us. Some Wildcat's going to make a play. You guys have to believe.
Tune in this Saturday, November 25th at 9 a.m. for the Meridian Wealth Management Pregame Show. Only on Wildcats Radio 12.